welcome to the Game Informer Show. I'm Ben Hansen, joined by Kyle Hilliard.
Hello.
And Andrew Reiner.
That's me.
Back from the dead.
From the
dead.
Just like a certain someone in the Star Wars universe. Because Reiner, last week you were at the Star Wars Celebration.
I was.
Very excited.
Yes, that was a good time.
We have a lot of stuff to recap, a lot of news there. Hey, it turns out it's an exciting show. There's a lot of fun stuff to talk about. I guess, see in my notes, we're going to be talking about the PlayStation 5.
Oh, yeah. That was
Okay, sure.
announced,
They did
sort of?
name a PlayStation 5.
Okay.
That's
all
right.
Hotshot.
Sorry, you
all
wouldn't say what the name of it was yet.
Could be
right?
called the PlayStation 1.
The PlayStation 4 next.
The PlayStation Orbis 2. We'll talk about fun Star Wars things, everything mopped up there. And then we're going to have some folks in to talk about Katana Zero, which is a new game on Switch, also on PC, I believe. I'm excited to hear about this because I played it at GDC and really enjoyed it. Talked to the developer a bit, so I'm curious about that. Also talk about some switches or some ports to the Switch. Then some fun community emails. Then back half of the show, we have our wonderful group of interns. We have Hunter and Jay and Nathan who are exiting stage left, very sadly.
It's a good group.
Clapping for
Good job,
them
Cal.
being great
Yes.
and also leaving.
They are very great. And so we have a fun segment where the framing is they pitch their dream games.
Oh, okay.
And then everybody chooses to make fun of them.
Was Hunters just Kingdom Hearts 4?
No, Hunters is the worst.
Oh, great. Can't wait to hear it.
Save it for the back half of the show. It's a fun time. Little things to like mop up. Yesterday, the new Smash DLC came out, which is very exciting.
Cool.
It's like, hey, it turns out, hey, Joker's out, everybody.
Tomorrow. Yeah.
Yeah,
when,
yeah.
when the announcement.
Yeah. It was just really out of the blue. I had no idea it was coming so soon.
Kind of taking their time with these, right?
Yeah.
Well, they said, so
Well,
they still have
he's
4
the-
other characters, and
Wow.
they said that they're going to be trickling it out through February of 2020.
Jeez.
So as everybody else is getting hyped up for the next generation, we're still going to be learning about characters.
There's
for
no need to go
Smash.
back or to go to the next gen. You got
That's
Smash.
my
Yeah,
argument.
game was out in December. Piranha Plant was February?
Maybe.
I think.
a
And
little earlier.
then they
Yeah.
announced Joker a while ago for April.
Yeah.
So
I
it's
mean-
going to be a while.
Blue the Raptor is in June then.
I think that's a June reveal, yeah, if I recall correctly. Also, like the stage builder's back.
Yeah.
They added video editing software into Smash just because
Cool.
let's keep packing that game full. And then also, like, it integrates with the app, so you can, like, download other people's levels and stuff, which is kind of cool. Like, all those homemade levels are a little bit janky, but in a lovable
There
sort of
might
way.
be a good one. We'll see.
Yeah. But I love the idea of with Joker added, like, just like, all right, let's just keep adding some of the greatest video game music of all time from Persona 3, 4, and 5 now to the Smash Brothers library of music, just in case that wasn't competitive enough as clearly the greatest video game soundtrack of all time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you excited to play that, Kyle?
Yeah, I'm not even a big Persona guy, but I love that Joker's in there. It's just so left field and interesting. Yeah, I can't wait to play it.
And I like they like retain a lot of the style, like the victory screen for Smash has him like walking like the victory screen for Persona 5, which is like
that's
that
cool.
tiny detail where it's like, oh, no one else gets a cool walking exit as they finish the match. But hey, it has stage building and you'll create stuff a lot like a certain other game that came out this week. Dreams for Media Molecule.
Which is, it's weird to say came out. It did. There's no denying that it's out.
I don't care how much Sony tries to deny it.
Yeah.
You can buy Dreams right now.
Not
for,
fully though. It's like 1 foot in the door, right?
It's
Right.
like
So it's the early
it's like
access.
2 feet in the door and like 1 arm. It's like a huge portion of that game.
So the biggest thing that's not in there is the story mode, which from the cover story trip we did last year, I mean, they said the story mode was like 2 to 3 hours anyway. So don't think
Yeah.
that there's this like gargantuan thing
Yeah.
not included in this thing. Like if you were interested in Dreams, if you want to create games, you want to play everybody's games, Dreams Early Access seems great.
I just want to play the story mode.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, my question is, because it's $30,
Yeah.
are you locked in to get the
Yeah, it automatically upgrades. So at
And
this
how
point,
much did you think the game was going to cost, Hanson? What was your prediction in the past?
I said that something funky was going on.
You said at one point you were wondering if it was going to be more than $60.
I never. No, that's true. Because
What,
it's
like
like they
Pro
said,
Tools?
yes.
That's yeah.
It's
What
the
are you
most
thinking?
powerful creative software I've ever seen in my life. Like, it would not surprise me if they're like, yeah, this thing's going to be 80 or it could be
Yeah.
100. But I also said, to be fair, or it could be $30. I have no idea. I don't know if I said
Alright.
30 exactly, but I was saying
Yeah.
because they wouldn't confirm 60, so I was saying it could swing either way.
Sure. Just as an aside, there was no way to me that it was ever going to be more than 60.
No.
Like 60 was going to be the max.
Pretty convenient.
How much is it? How much is it?
30.
That's
for
exactly
early
what
access.
I thought.
And you can have infinite games to play now.
Infinite okay games.
And at this point, it's like it's still largely the content from the beta, which is awesome. They let that carry over. So the archive of games, we've shown a lot of them off before at Game Informer, like what's at the top of the heap. The weird detail when you boot up Dreams in Early Access is it says games are not guaranteed to carry over to the full game. And maybe that's just in case there's a tech nightmare on our end. Because can you imagine the PR snafu if all the stuff from early access was killed before it went full release?
Oh,
Yeah.
I don't think they'd do it. I don't think they'd let that
They
happen.
just have
do
to
it.
have-
They should do it after like a month from now. Just kill everything.
They just have to have that qualifier in there.
I think they do. Yeah, in the fine print, basically. But
Yeah.
booting up that game, Leo's been playing a little bit too. Leo in the booth there.
Hi.
Booting up that game, it reminded me why I love Dreams, why I love Media Molecule. Just the opening alone, where it's just them in their kitchen and they have a giant sign that says hello in all these different languages. And it's just like this video of them and it's jumping all over the place. If that was the game alone, worth $30 right there. As Leo and I were talking about before we started recording, it makes me happy to be a human being on planet Earth playing this game. That this thing exists is so beautiful and so pure and just, tears streaming.
That was me with
so
God of
lovely.
War. Like,
Is that right?
Same feelings. Yeah.
But just pure creation. It is so beautiful. And I cannot wait to see what this community does weeks and weeks and weeks from now.
Yeah.
I just jumped in and I found some new level. And I found it through the feature that I'm very happy is in there compared to the beta, which is auto surfing. We can search certain tags and then just go to auto surfing and basically just hit next song, next song, next song, and just keep jumping through these admittedly pretty game jam games.
Yeah,
right?
but they're always compelling. Like even if they're awful, that's compelling for its own reasons. If it's really good, that's like, oh, okay, that's compelling too.
Remember when that guy made the calculator in Little Big Planet?
Right.
That guy's got to come back and like up his game, like make
actually-
a working
Oh, God.
microwave.
He
in
actually made a
Dreams.
quantum computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is pretty cool.
Big Blue or something.
It's funny. This is like I had Windows just up on my TV because I'm playing World War Z right now, and Kato joked. He's like, "Oh, did you make that in Dreams?" Like joking that I'd made Windows, and I was like, "Someone's gonna do something like that. Like
Oh,
they're gonna make
absolutely.
like an OS like within Dreams." you
It's
know?
coming. Yeah, insane things are only coming. Leo, what did you do? What did you f- around with in that game?
Did a few tutorials, did some dream surfing. Early impressions, I don't think it's going to disrupt game development forever, but I think it is going to empower people who couldn't or wouldn't make their own games, make something playable out of whatever ideas they have, which I think is really cool.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Should we form Game Informer Games?
We can
Only
reach
within
in.
Should we
Dreams.
make a game?
I definitely want to do. I want in the future, like a future video feature. I want us
Yeah.
to each present our levels like that.
no,
we made
all of
to
us
each other.
making one together.
Oh, collaboratively.
Yeah, we'll get a dry erase board and write some stuff on it and
could do
be
that.
pros.
Yeah, we'll probably be showing it off in 4K or 8K by that time because it'll take so
Right,
long to
right.
get through the tutorials because the tutorials are absurd. I cannot understate this.
Yeah.
Like, it is hours and hours and hours and hours and hours and hours
Well
to try and
done.
understand.
They're fun, though.
They're done very well.
It's just a little video, right? And then just, hey, recreate this, but they try and add little storylines to all of them.
Wiring up logic and everything feels really natural. Like, I was really wishing I could use a mouse when I was starting out, but the way they have everything set up with the controller, you can really do everything you want to do, and it flows really well. I can't believe how comfortable it is to move things around and grab
Yeah,
them.
for sure. It's amazing seeing just how much that game has changed, even since just the cover story trip, because the cover story content, that intro sequence, we played through over and over again on the cover story trip. And then in the beta, it was also in there. And now even from the beta to this build, it's like, oh, they've tweaked a lot, like changed the voice and changed like the jumping up area at the end, and even just the imagery of like the freaky eyes with like the symbol above their face. Like, it's a core image in the
yeah.
early access version of Dreams. Like, that's new. I haven't
they
seen that
changed that?
before. I
Like,
hadn't seen it.
Yeah, and they changed the part where you jump up the tree,
Yes,
right?
exactly. Good memory.
Yeah, you used to play that, and now it just plays itself automatically. I feel like so many people were falling off the tree that they just made it happen automatically, so it
Yeah,
didn't
it's super
detract from
smart.
the momentum of the scene.
I thought back to the cover story trip, and one of the dumbest questions I've ever asked in my life, where I was talking to Mark Healy, the creative director, and he's like a huge Pink Floyd fan. He was like on his acoustic guitar playing "Wish You Were Here" and stuff. It was beautiful, as you'd imagine that studio would be.
Yeah.
And then at a certain point, I was talking about Pink Floyd, and I was like, "Do you ever like slip in any Pink Floyd Easter eggs or references in any of your games?" He's like, "Well, the first thing you see in Dreams is a giant white wall." Oh yeah, I guess so. All right, it's a subtle homage. See if fans can really catch it.
And your cursor just violently blinks at you.
Yeah, exactly. Randy, you're gonna play this thing?
Yes. I have
Okay.
to. Yeah,
Have to.
I do. It's
Are
in
you
my
excited?
contract to play every game ever made. Yeah.
What'd you get out of Little Big Planet? Did you use a lot of like user
I
created
did.
levels
I
and
liked
stuff?
1 and 2 quite a bit. I wasn't good enough to make anything interesting.
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see. I was more intrigued when it was like PS4 announced when they were molding clay.
Yeah, that's still in there.
Yeah, but that's kind of what I want to do in Dreams. So make some clay sculptures or some landscapes that
Do you
way.
have move controllers?
No.
You don't need them, but it would probably help if you want to make some cool clay sculptures.
Yeah, you just like 6 or 7 hours of tutorial. You should be good to go.
Yeah, man,
Okay,
it'll be a piece
cool.
of cake.
All right.
I'm with you. I think that'd be fun. But of course, the main way that I've absorbed Dreams so far has been watching Media Molecule make stuff, and that's just not fair. Like watching these people who have built the tools and been
you-
working with it for 6 years.
Can you take other people's creations, copy them, and mess around in them? And
If they allow you to. Yeah, it's
but
an
like
option.
have your own instance of it, not save it.
Yes.
Okay, that's
Yeah.
cool. Well, you can learn a lot that way then.
Yeah, you can dissect a lot of things. Yeah, for sure. And they even talked about for their story levels, they didn't want to let people dissect it right away, but they said that they might patch that in eventually to let you just tear those apart to see exactly how Media Molecule made it, because it's obvious, but like all the campaign levels are going to be made within Dreams as well, because the world is made within Dreams. Very exciting. On this podcast a while ago, when we were talking to Media Molecule, we asked them about like, isn't it crazy that Dreams is going to be coming out so late in the PS4 life cycle? Like, do you feel like it's just going to be a dead end because PlayStation 5 is right around the corner? And Mark Healy said, no, if PlayStation 5 comes out, we'll just port it to Dreams, or we'll port Dreams to it. And now it turns out they don't need to do that, because
Yeah.
we got our first details on the PlayStation 5 this week from an interview with Wired.
Yeah, that was a great get for them. And
Yeah.
you know, this isn't like a leak or someone, you know, speaking anonymously. It was Mark Cerny, the architect of the PS4 and now the architect of the PS5, showing them demos and talking about exactly what they want to do with this next console. Not called the PS5 yet, but
Whoa,
it will
come
likely be. Yeah, but
Well, odds,
just so people know, they said it's like the next PlayStation console.
right. Odds that it's called PlayStation 5, though. 95%?
Oh, higher than that.
99.
Okay.
Yeah, everybody in the public's already calling it that. They have instant branding. They got to go with it.
I think in Wired's article they kept calling it PS5.
Well,
You know?
what I loved about the Wired article is just the amount of times that they referenced Mark Cerny's sly grin, because Mark Cerny's a very soft, polite, smiley guy, and it's like every time there was clearly a yes, like in terms of okay, they announced it's backwards compatible.
So
but also,
wait, real quick, did they said that straight, or were they, or,
Yes.
or was people extrapolating that from the fact that they were showing off Spider-Man?
they were
on it?
showing off Spider-Man, but then in the Wired recap, they also said, yeah, it's going to
Okay.
be backwards compatible with
That's
PlayStation
cool.
4.
That's exciting.
Which
Yeah.
is so huge.
Yeah.
And then all these other
Gargantuan.
mysteries, it was a lot of Mark Cerny smiling and being like, I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. Death Stranding they specifically cited as him. They were like, "Is this going to be on PS5?" And he he didn't respond was sort of the wording of it. And they're like, "But there was a pregnant pause," and he winked.
Well, like, it was, not only was it PS5, but the idea that it might be cross-gen, which I think
Yeah,
we've been saying on the podcast for a while. Like, that seems likely if it's a
Yeah, yeah.
2020 release, which also seems likely, I guess.
Yeah.
The idea that then it would also be cross-gen and compatible on both. But I wonder if Kojima can resist the temptation of a new generation, and like if there's new features
Metal
that
Gear
are exclusive to
Metal
that.
Gear ray tracing.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
I mean,
That's a smart
5.
joke.
I always forget that 5, or was it just Ground Zeroes was cross-platform?
I think all of 5. I think Phantom Pain as well is playable
Yeah.
on last gen, which is
crazy.
just bonkers.
Yeah.
Also, PlayStation VR compatible, which is exciting.
You got to
they're-
think they'll have a new headset whenever PS5
Yeah.
comes out, wireless, kind of
Yeah.
like the new Oculus.
Right, but it's still wild
Quest,
the idea that
yeah.
you can just plug in your old one and it'll work.
Yeah.
It's like as I read this Wired article, it was just more and more things like, oh, these are just details with the next generation just thrown out there. It's a bold move from Sony to get this messaging out there, especially through Wired at
Yeah,
this point.
yeah.
Like, why do you think now is the time where Sony's like, let's start to say something?
I wonder if it was they want to, because the big takeaway to me of all of Wired's article was
Yeah.
that they're still going like local hardware running games well, and
You can play discs in this thing.
yeah, well, I don't know. Are we sure it's discs?
They said discs.
They did say discs.
Yeah.
Okay, I swear I read this thing. I just didn't remember all the little details. That's exciting to me.
Yeah.
And then I wonder if they're just getting this little bit out there to kind of go against Stadia, go against whatever Xbox is doing.
Well, it happened on
streaming
the-
on Switch. You know.
It happened on the same day that Microsoft was announcing its disc-free Xbox
Yeah.
One.
Right.
And if you think it's a coincidence, it's not. I mean,
Yeah.
these companies know what's going on.
Yeah.
They intentionally picked the same day. I don't know if it was Microsoft doing it or Sony doing it, but they
Yeah, I
definitely wanted the messaging on the same day.
I think, they just wanted to be on that separate branch of like, this is what they're doing. We can't tell you everything, but we want to at least lay the groundwork and let you know this is what we're doing.
And it's also like a soft way almost to test the messaging of like, what we talked about 1,000 times on this podcast, the idea of whether or not they can just pull a last generation again of everybody else or Xbox taking too big of a leap, and then Sony can be like, yeah, but we're here for the gamers,
Yeah.
And if they seem to be touting that again, at least testing the message of like, you can play discs on this thing, it's going to be powerful, it might not even include streaming, and everyone's like, okay, I think we're on board.
It felt like the same thing, like game sharing again. I know it's not a fair comparison of PS5 versus the last gen of Xbox, but
Right.
that messaging was similar, right? Where you're just like, oh, they're still doing this stuff.
Yeah.
On the new one.
Yeah.
I have more options over here. What are you
Right.
doing?
It's so bizarre. So other details here. Mark Cerny said the dev kits are out there. They're getting more out there now, which is exciting to hear. I love the detail too of not being able to see what the console looked like or the system looked like. It was under like an aluminum tube or something bizarre. The big thing that Mark Cerny touched on in this article at Wired was the solid state drive, which is an interesting thing to tout out of the gate of like, oh, this is going to increase load times, streaming tech, everything with the solid state drive. It's going to be huge.
That solid's, man, the price of that stuff right now, obviously
Right.
over time, it all goes down, right? Like, so we get like that sticker shock now of like, how much does that card go for PCs now? But a year from now, it might be $150, right? That solid state drive though, what did it do for Spider-Man? It was load times. They did a fast travel on PS4 from one point to another in the city. It took like 15 seconds. On the PS5 or this next console, it was 0.8 seconds. So it's like basically crushing load times. And that's exactly what I've said, maybe even on this show, that the next generation to wow me is get rid of load times. If we're going to be like a storytelling medium, you can't have those black screens with the spinning disc on them anymore.
Right.
We've sat through that a lot. You've had companies kind of overcome that, Naughty Dogs, but very few have done that. A lot of our games have loading screens with tips on them and minute-long breaks in the action. And if that's where we're going, if that's like the main goal is to crush that and just have it be a seamless experience, that's amazing.
Well, Stadia might offer that as well.
It could.
Yeah.
I mean, they could keep upgrading that too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's just you'll have latency.
Yep. Also, they said support 4K. Obviously, also will support 8K. Was an interesting detail in there. Like they're really thinking far ahead here. Mark Cerny, smartest man in the game industry. He knows what he's doing here.
When I read that, coupled with it's going to have physical media again,
Yeah.
I started thinking about the sizes, like the file size of 8K textures and stuff like that.
God.
Like think about
Yeah.
downloading. Like, what is it? 3 times larger than 4K is kind of how it works out.
Sure.
Yeah, give or take. Yeah.
So you'd have like 300 gig games, maybe. I know that's not exact math. Maybe some developers can let us know in the
The
comments.
Blu-ray
but,
discs are going to be the size of a record, I believe.
What, I mean, is it going to be a chip? Is it going to be a card? Is it going to be a
Are they gonna have
disc?
a new media type? Like, I mean,
Yeah, I
Blu-rays
guess
are
you
kind of
don't
old
know.
at this point,
Because
right?
when they say it's backwards compatible, that doesn't mean discs, right?
Yeah.
It could be your PlayStation library will carry over, and then you
That's
can read
true.
download
That's
it
an
all.
interesting point.
My prediction. I have a prediction.
Yes.
Laserdisc sized Blu-ray. And then it'll
Just
be like putting a
it's
game.
just
It'll be,
vinyl.
it'll be like putting a GameCube game in the Wii when you put a PS4 game. They're just huge slot.
I bet it'll still be discs.
Yeah.
I bet if they're taking a
could be.
conservative
There's-
approach and then just so they technically can support it, but we're going
Some
to move
kind of
on to something
I
else.
mean, there's like Ultra HD. Those hold a lot more data, right? So maybe it'll be like
Yeah, but-
Ultra Blu-rays or
Man, if
something.
these games get that big. I mean, how many devs are going to do 8K though, right? Like out of the gates?
all the first party stuff, right? I mean,
Well,
it's going
it
to
says
take
it
a
can
hell of a
support it.
long time. I mean,
How many are doing native 4K?
right?
Yeah,
Maybe
good
by
point.
2025,
Yeah,
we'll see.
you're probably right.
We'll see Last of Us Part 4 in 8K.
Yeah.
something like that. But just for the guts here, if you're interested in that type of thing. So this is from Wired. They say the CPU is based on the 3rd generation of AMD's Ryzen line and contains 8 cores of the company's new 7 nanometer Zen 2 micro architecture. Dantek is salivating right now. The GPU, a custom variant of Radeon's Navi family, will support ray tracing, a technique that models the travel of light to simulate complex interactions in 3D environments.
That has nothing to do with Zelda. Get that out of your
I
mind.
know. I read that and got excited.
Yeah, the ray tracing thing, it's something available on PCs now. It's certainly a good buzzword for like, how do you improve visuals? Ray tracing.
I think
Let
that's-
light bounce around even more.
That's going to be the buzzword of the next gen.
Yeah.
One of them, yeah, for sure.
The thing that surprised me about the ray tracing stuff was, I guess this is a known thing, but like how it affects sound.
Well, the
Like,
idea that it's like any ray, so it can also
Yeah.
be just sound bouncing around the
Because Cerny
environment.
said if you wanted to run tests to see if the player can hear certain audio sources or if the enemy can hear the player's footsteps, ray tracing is useful for that, which
Yeah.
I thought was interesting and weird. I didn't realize it like engaged with sound as much as it did with the way it looks.
And Cerny focusing on sound was really interesting as well.
Yeah.
He said the AMD chip also includes a custom unit for 3D audio that Cerny thinks will redefine what sound can do in a video game. As a gamer, he says, it's been a little bit of frustration that audio did not change too much between the PlayStation 3 and PlayStation 4. With the next console, the dream is to show how dramatically different the audio experience can be when we apply significant amounts of hardware horsepower to it.
Yeah. And then he said, like, those, I was like, well, this all sounds great, but I don't have a surround sound system. But then he was like, well, you'll notice the change even with your normal speakers, and headphones will be you call it the gold standard.
I
which
guess I
was
will
like,
trust Mark Cerny.
Yeah, I'm skeptical about how much I will notice that difference. you
Yeah.
know, but we'll see. I don't
And
know.
also, a lot of the article was kind of framed like these are just the basics, but Mark Cerny doesn't want you to see this as an upgrade. He wants you to see it as there's going to be a dramatic change. But I don't know what that's going to be unless it's a wonky looking controller at this point or like what could really hit us over the head with like this. It's clearly next generation. But I think gamers are fine with this. Give us a more powerful PlayStation.
Oh, yeah.
That's great.
I mean, he made it sound like there's a pretty big divide between this and the PS4. It's not just like a mid-gen kind of thing. Like this
Right.
is the next big hardware upgrade. That's exciting.
Yeah.
Give me a better battery on my damn controller.
It'd be nice.
That's all I want.
It would
More
certainly
hard
be
drive
nice.
space, yeah.
Yep. And the fact that it's backwards compatible, we could still use our DualShocks then, in theory, for the PlayStation 5.
no.
So then they can probably get rid of the touchpad for the next
God.
one around.
I didn't even think of that.
Did you guys see that story that I'm obsessed with? At GDC, the Astrobot director showed like prototypes for the early PlayStation 4
Yeah.
controller. There's some good wonky stuff in there.
Yeah.
Like it looks so much more like the Wii U gamepad than I was expecting, where the touchpad originally, one version, it was just like massive.
Will they put the analog stick, the left analog stick, in the right spot?
I think it is in the right spot.
No.
Hello.
I don't think they
No.
will. I think that's
No.
core to a PlayStation controller, for
Yep.
better or worse. I know you don't like it. It doesn't bug me either way.
Scuff
honestly.
does it, right?
Yeah. Oh, do they? They
Yeah.
swap it.
Yeah.
I don't
Maybe
think
that'll
they
be one
will.
of the big things. Like the base controller, maybe be able to swap around where different things
Yeah.
are.
Change things out like the
Yeah.
Pro controller on
That
Xbox.
could be.
I'll pay an extra $50 if it's in the right spot.
Wow.
All right.
Jeez.
There you go, Mark.
They also said, when asked about streaming, Mark Cerny just said, well, does anybody have a good Mark Cerny? I guess I'll do mine. Here we go.
We don't know the quote, Hanson, so I don't know what you want me to
The quote is, oh, this old thing? Which is our go-to Mark Cerny impersonation, is him saying,
was-
oh, this old thing?
That just sounded like you.
No. This is Mark Cerny. He
a
says,
little bit higher.
we are cloud gaming pioneers, and our vision should become clear as we head toward launch. As far as streaming goes. So that implies to me that, like, yeah, obviously PlayStation Now will carry forward just so they can almost hedge their bets a little bit. If streaming does clearly become the future, there will be a PlayStation option. But if they push hard that, like, this is the place for your tangible gamers, that's a really good message.
I wonder if backwards compatibility will work in the same way Xbox does, where you put Spider-Man in your PS5 and you're not like running it off the disc necessarily. It's like getting downloaded or you're streaming it.
That's already how it works for every game anyway.
Oh, I guess what I mean, like, yeah, you download it, like, but I mean, maybe it'll just acknowledge that you have the disc, and then you'll just stream PS4 remotely or stream Spider-Man remotely.
Oh,
Is
you're
what I'm
saying through
saying.
PlayStation Now?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
doubt it. I bet it would
Yeah.
run the same
Okay.
architecture inside.
Yeah.
And also remember there was that rumor that they were looking into backwards compatibility for PlayStation 1, 2, and 3 as well. Like if that's the case, Microsoft is going to have another uphill climb messaging-wise because that is such a good success story. If they can pull that off, I care more about that than 3D audio, realistically. Like, my headphones are fine. PlayStation 4 audio seems fine.
Yeah.
We're good here. Hey, exciting. PlayStation
It is.
5,
It's
here.
very exciting. It was a surprise. And again, hats off to Wired.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a great story.
Go read the full article for sure. Let's see other things. Next Gen Wars heating up in a confusing way because Microsoft released the new version, like you mentioned, the discless Xbox One S.
I'm all about that. Like, if people don't want the disk drive, it makes sense to just offer a version that doesn't have it. But then I heard about the pricing, and I was like,
It's $50 cheaper.
It's $250. And also, I was looking around,
is
and like
this?
it's very easy to find an Xbox One or Xbox One S for like $200.
yeah,
It's
that's
like,
what people were saying. It's like, what is this? Like,
Yeah, I saw people joking, like, I already have one of these because I have a launch system where the disk drive doesn't run anymore. Which is, I have a launch one where the disk drive doesn't work anymore.
Yeah.
So I've already
Leo,
got
didn't
one.
you have that exact situation?
Yeah, I dropped it on the floor. Exploded.
Okay.
Wait, did you fix it?
No, I gave it to a friend.
Oh, did he fix it?
I'm just eating my lunch now over here. So
That is way too much food in the mouth at once.
I just want to know how to fix
small
it.
bites, dear. Small bites.
sorry.
Also, Microsoft news: Ultimate Game Pass announced $15 a month, finally bundling the Game Pass with Xbox Live, which is like, all right, that's clearly paving the way for next generation as well.
Let's rewind.
Yes.
What is the perfect price for that?
Oh,
What do you think? What would have been like? Yep, that makes sense.
I mean, you could say $100. Realistically, $179.
Yeah, I would have gone
Yeah.
150, 179.
Is
I
that
think that's-
half? About half off? Is that what? How much does it? Do you know how
Yeah,
much?
especially at this point in the console cycle.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
it totally makes sense. And also, I was more obsessed with it than Leo was, but they released like a commercial to go along with this Xbox One S. And it's all just like this jokey thing. Did you guys watch this?
I haven't watched it.
I
no.
didn't really get the joke.
The joke
It
is
was
just
like,
like
I liked the tone, but I was like,
the joke
who
is
is this
that
for?
they had this epiphany of like, of course, let's just remove the disk drive. And it's like they're treating it like it's the easiest thing in the world. And they had this eureka moment
Yeah.
of like, oh, of course. So they're all secretly stupid. It's just like,
I didn't get.
don't
yeah,
know what that
I was like,
messaging is.
what are you trying to tell me?
I know. We're all idiots, but we
one
came
thing-
up with this base idea.
One thing we got to point out is there are 3 free games that come with it.
Oh, really? I missed that. Okay.
I believe you get Forza Horizon 3, Minecraft, and another game.
Oh, really?
So wait, you can get Minecraft?
Shut up. You
But the thing that's kind of weird about that is if you get Game Pass, you get them.
Yeah, doesn't that all come with it?
Yeah.
Forza, right?
Yeah, and it seems like they really want you,
You could
to.
get Game Pass for like $1 or
Yeah, it's like
$2
$1 right now.
Plus,
for
you can
a first month.
You can get Forza for free with Forza Street, which released this week, which
Yeah.
eventually is going to become a mobile game, but it's on the Windows Store right now. I kind of want to check it out.
I do too.
Maybe I'll wait for it to come to iOS, as confusing as that is.
Yeah.
Hey,
Hi.
time to go to a galaxy far, far away. Most exciting thing from the gaming perspective, Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. The
Yeah.
first official reveal trailer for Respawn's new game.
With no microtransactions.
Oh, did you hear about that?
What a weird.
Speaking of messaging.
All right, like it's like cool, but that's like your lead.
So here's
How-
the exact framing. So there's a EA Star Wars account on Twitter. They tweeted out, no microtransactions, no loot boxes, and no, we won't be adding them. A single-player Star Wars story for those of you who are ready to become a Jedi.
All right.
Yeah, so at Celebration, Star Wars Celebration in Chicago this last weekend, Vince Impella was up on the Star Wars show stage.
Yeah.
And he just said, yeah, it's a single player Star Wars story with no microtransactions, no multiplayer. And the crowd went bonkers for those 2 points. And I just sat back and I was like, this is where we're at.
Yeah.
This is the, like what we've eroded of player fandom of
I
like,
know.
they're at a point now where you're like, yes, thank you for not trying to take more money from me.
Just giving us a baseline civil video game to play. But
Yeah.
EA has been playing this game for a while. I feel like ever since Battlefront 2 and the loot box fiasco, every game at E3 or every game they announced, they go out of their way to be like, and no loot boxes! Like, cool, I guess. Like,
Yeah,
we're
but then
not
they have,
murdering
like-
people anymore!
In that same breath, though, it's like, oh, hey, here's Apex Legends, Command & Conquer on mobile. And it's like,
right.
what are you doing?
The messaging.
FIFA!
Well, I especially love like Amy Hennig, who had her game canceled from EA not too long ago, specifically because it wasn't a living game. And that's where
Well, that's
EA
the
wanted
rumor,
to focus. I think she said as much.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also heard other things, like it was like the scale of it was just out of control.
Right. But anyways, she basically had a reaction of like, what the hell? What the hell, EA?
Yeah.
Like, our game gets canned, but Respawn can do no wrong. And it is just like a good reminder of how much oomph in the industry really means. Like, Respawn is just a golden child right now. It's like EA is like, hey, let them do whatever the hell they want. Visceral, you had some clunkers in there towards the end, so let's go ahead and put our thumb on you and really squish you
Well,
out of
and
existence here.
I mean, it's not that easy. I mean, they're probably
Of
looking
course.
at milestones, budgets, where
Yes.
they're at, the pipeline, all that stuff, trying to figure out exactly what's working, what's not. And Respawn, I mean, they've just been a hit maker, right? Like every
they
game
haven't
they
released
do,
that much, but it's a lot of talent in that studio.
Titanfall 2, before that, Call of Duty,
Even-
Apex Legends.
Even if
like,
it lacks in commercial success, like it's like reviews
they make
well. you
they
know?
make
Oh.
very good games.
Yeah, I mean, just going off Titanfall 2 and Apex Legends alone, forgetting Titanfall 1, if you want to, it's still just like, okay, that studio is unbelievably top tier. Let
Yeah.
them do what they want to do. And apparently they wanted to make this single-player Star Wars story with the director of God of War 3 at the helm.
on Unreal.
I'm so happy. So you interviewed Stig and also Steve Blank from Lucasfilm.
Mm-hmm.
It was an interesting interview, and I'm so happy that you slipped in that one quick question about what engine are you making this on?
It was very much just kind of under the breath, like Unreal.
Yep.
I was like, okay.
And why is it interesting, Reiner?
Well, they work with Source Engine, and then, I mean, there's two parts to this. They work with Source and, for Titanfall and all that stuff. But EA has most of their internal devs use Frostbite from DICE.
Yeah.
And that seems like people have latched onto that as being a problem. And you've heard devs talk about like it's difficult to work with.
Yeah, absolutely.
You need a lot of engineering help from DICE and all that. Whereas Respawn is a part of EA, yet they are not using Frostbite. They are doing their own thing. Which brings up the question of, people are saying like, oh, EA's forcing it on them. They're making these studios use these things. Maybe that's not the case. Maybe it's the studio heads making the decision, like, let's move over to these new tools rather than build our own.
I'm sure EA is strongly pushing, or maybe this just signals that this project was in the works before EA purchased them, right? Which is the most likely scenario.
I don't think so, because EA got the rights for Star Wars.
Yeah.
Right.
So
that's true.
Yeah, who would, unless they were being licensed out by EA to work on a Star Wars? Yeah,
That
I don't know.
could
Very
be.
confusing.
Or it could have been
Yeah.
a different game they were working on that was similar in concept.
I think that's likely.
Or maybe it was just like a technical decision. It's like we want actors in this. We want recognizable actors in this game, and Unreal is better at rendering like a face. You know?
I don't know.
I don't know. I'm
DICE-
just-
I mean, it's all
Yeah, I
speculation.
mean, that's
though.
true,
I
yeah.
mean, all the negative stuff people have been talking about, what we're going through, it's just all speculation. We won't know until they just
Yeah.
come out and say, and,
right.
we just got to ask them next
But still,
time.
it's so weird to be on the, just the fan side of the fence and be excited when you hear about an engine. Like, oh, EA game on Unreal? F yeah! Like, that's such a weird feeling. It's like, but that's where we're at in the industry and just the saga of Frostbite overall,
Yep.
I guess.
It's weird.
The game itself, you seemed excited about the main character,
Yeah, Cal.
Cal Kestis? That's his
Kestis,
name?
yes.
And the actor is...
From Shameless and Gotham, Monahan.
Dominic.
Dominic,
Yeah.
yes.
And he's good. I like him a
No,
lot.
it's not Dominic Monaghan.
Oh, okay, yeah, because
That's the Hobbit.
Oh, yeah, it's not the Hobbit.
Anyways,
Can't
it's Mr.
remember. Last week was a
Gotham.
long time ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but he's good. Like, I like him. I think that's exciting. I watched a lot of Shameless, and he was fantastic in that show. I watched a ton of Gotham, but I think that's cool. Like, he's a good actor, and I'm excited to see him in it.
I had this reaction where on the podcast we're talking about there's got to be some boot to drop, some shoe to drop here with this game. It sounds too good. The idea of just like a nice single player Star Wars game from Respawn. What's it going to be? I saw that trailer and I was like, there it is. Main character's a dweeb. Got it. Like, I didn't like the look or feel like he did not seem compelling. It's a little dweebus.
The trailer is kind of... I am very excited for that game. I mean, based on those things, Respawn single-player Star Wars. But the trailer was a little underwhelming, but because it just didn't have gameplay, and it seemed mostly pre-rendered. But
Well,
it's
I mean,
Yeah.
when you don't have, like, the Sith always have the coolest looking characters, right? Like
Yeah,
Darth Maul and all
of
that. But Jedi, unless you have that kind of attachment to them, like Luke Skywalker, Obi-Wan Kenobi, you have Liam Neeson playing Qui-Gon or Sam Jackson playing Mace Windu. They're immediately kind of cool, but when you kind of peel back all that, they're just kind of normal. Like the Jedi are kind of the weaker bunch of
Visually,
the
yeah.
Force-sensitive beings in the universe.
Well, and visually they're like wearing robes at least in the prequels. Then this, because he's a Jedi in hiding, he can't even do that. So he has to wear the outfit of some dumb worker on
Yeah.
a starship,
Or they could have gone an alien species, that would have
That
been
would have
cool.
been interesting. Wouldn't you have preferred like a Twi'lek or something?
Yeah, I mean, seriously, yeah, probably. That'd be neat.
Yeah.
Break free from another white human Jedi. Like, we just had Force Unleashed. I immediately started thinking about that when I was
Yeah.
watching it, when he's running on the walls and all that. But they said
Oh, by
it's
the-
not going to be like that.
What do you mean?
It's going to be more of a kind of a methodical action game.
So it's not
where-
Prince of Persia with lightsabers.
No, it's going to be easy to pick up and play, but there'll be some depth. It's going to be more about timing and stuff like that, not just like wailing on buttons. It sounds
Okay.
like.
It was funny that of course, it's a Respawn game, and they're going to remind you by having wall running
Yeah.
in the reveal trailer
Yeah.
for their Star Wars game. It was like, oh, okay, maybe they wanted to emphasize some aspect of gameplay, but that's just like such a fun standout
It
thing
got
for that
me
team.
excited. I was like into
Okay.
it. Yeah. I also literally I like the premise a lot of just like a Jedi in hiding. I think
Yeah,
that's interesting. I like that. Yeah.
The Dark Times is a really interesting period because
after Return of the Jedi.
Revenge
right?
of the Sith.
Oh, after
it's-
Revenge of the Sith. That's
It's
right.
when
Okay.
Emperor Palpatine executes Order 66 and all the clones and everybody turn on the Jedi and they're wanted now, dead or alive, like take them out.
Yeah.
So they all go into hiding or fight to the death, basically. So Cal is one that's in hiding, and he's adopted this life of kind of working on this mining planet where they're tearing apart these ships using these big, kind of huge machines with lasers.
Yeah, it's
And the
a cool
cool thing is beneath these, these ships are in the air still floating, and they're cutting them up, kind of like a surgeon blade going through them just really easily. But all the debris is falling into these giant Sarlacc pit kind of creatures.
They are creatures?
They are creatures that are feeding on the debris. So it's like the
that's
super
gonna be such a
efficient
fun
planet.
game over screen.
It's like the super efficient planet, but Cal ends up having to use the Force. I think they show what happens
Like
in
his
the
buddy
trailer.
falls and he ends up saving him.
Yeah, he's going to use the Force to pull him back out of this large monster. And from there on, people know he's a Force user. He's Force sensitive. He's a Padawan who was in training. He goes on the run, and the Empire is after him. And they have the second sister, an Inquisitor.
Hang on, stop. So it's an Inquisitor and her name is Second Sister, or is
Yes.
that a rank?
Yes, second sister is basically her. I guess kind of like a Sith Lord. Like second sister.
Is there any
I don't
precedent for
remember.
Second Sister in the Star Wars universe?
There's a lot. Yeah, they have all sorts of numbers of those. And then she has with her the Purge Troopers. And I think these were in Force Unleashed as well, a variation of them. But the Purge Troopers kind of come in to soften up the Jedi to make it easier for the Inquisitors to take them down, or whatever troops come in.
Yeah.
But they're basically disposable, like really heavy units that are just kind of thrown in to try to at least get them off their guard a little bit.
Okay. And we
but-
see him light up a lightsaber at the end. He's
And
got a
it's
blue
not his
lightsaber.
own. The lightsaber's destroyed, like the bottom part. It looked like it was maybe a double-sided, and I guess we're going to learn whose that was or what the importance of that saber is as the game
Okay.
goes on.
What do you think about his buddy BD Wong?
Buddy won.
I'm sorry, BD1.
Yeah, Buddy Droid won. I don't know. We didn't see it really in motion. They talked about it being kind of like a little ATST
cute.
that used to like have a camera on it. So it's just kind of like this weird, fun little droid that's with him.
It looks a little like Metal Gear Mark II from Metal Gear Solid
Oh
4.
yeah, when the because the poster leaked early,
Yeah.
and that was my first reaction. I think I said in our Slack
yeah,
chat,
yeah.
I was like, "Is that from Metal Gear 4?"
The thing this game reminded me of most, or the series, was Uncharted. So they showed a bunch of concept art during the panel, and it would be like Cal and BD1 in this sprawling environment that looked like Nathan Drake should be in. They're just forest, right? Like
Yeah.
rainforest. And then another one in this like ancient temple that hasn't been, people haven't been in there for a while. But it was very much about isolation and being alone in the wilderness, and not an ensemble thing like Star Wars usually is. So it was kind of strange to see that. But Stig told me that it's very much a story of man versus wild, in that it's going to be not only Cal, but the Empire against kind of the elements and kind of braving whatever this planet
that's
throws
fun.
in them. The planet Bracca.
So the entire game takes place on Brock, or just
Don't
starts
know.
there?
He wouldn't tell me that.
Okay.
Yeah.
By the way, you say this single player Star Wars game reminds me of Uncharted. Amy Hennig's just punching through her hat like Ross Perot in The Simpsons. Like, "Argh!" It got so frustrating. But all right, I guess if you have to
But I mean,
choose
seriously,
one.
if you look at that concept art, it's like,
Yeah.
I see an inspiration point.
Right. I'm excited to see the little robot buddy in action. Like,
Yeah.
people on Twitter made the obvious joke of like, all right, so Respawn starts out with a big robot buddy with Titanfall, and then Apex Legends, it's medium-sized robot buddy, and now it's
Oh,
the
that's
tiny
pretty clever.
robot
I didn't
buddy.
even think about that. Yeah.
Just shrinking and shrinking. I hope it doesn't talk. It's not going to talk, right?
It just has to whistle, right?
And then just subtitles through the entire game?
No, I mean, they never do that for R2.
Yeah.
It's just the characters know, and they say it back
respond.
to him. He's got to be
Right.
so frustrated with that. Like, yes, that's exactly what I just said to you. Why are you saying that to me?
Hopefully
This is
it's
one of those-
Ben Schwartz. Is my hope for them.
Yeah, wouldn't it be nice? Odds BD1 will die in that game.
Oh.
How many scenes are there going to be where he goes, BD!
I don't know. He seems pretty calm and collected dude.
All right.
Three.
Three.
I'm
Right.
going with three
Yes,
BBs.
yes.
Screamed with one tear.
Yes. Also, if you had to predict a Rebels cameo, because it's the same timeline, who do you
Oh.
think? What's going on here? Is it because it's confusing if he meets up with Ezra, right? Because it's
Yeah.
like, all right, now what do we do?
Kanan, because he's a
Okay.
Jedi at the time.
Yeah, and maybe it's like when he's blind, so he won't even know there's another Jedi around. He'll just walk right by him, and only your character will see him.
Yeah, I would say that probably.
Okay.
You think there'll be any big hitters? Any Darth Vaders or Palpatines? Yeah.
Yeah.
There's got to be at least one. Maybe
Well,
not
Palpatine's
Vader.
already in the trailer for like, oh, no, 66.
Yeah.
Anytime new people get to use Star Wars, they cannot hold back from doing this.
Yeah.
They always like, well, yeah, but then when Luke was back on Tatooine, guess what? Boba Fett was there. And they fought each other.
I don't think it'll be a Fett. I don't think Boba Fett will be in this one, but there'll be somebody.
I could see a Fett being actually the most likely.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Mandalorians.
IG-88.
Han
He did.
Solo would be weird. IG-88.
He
is
died
a
in Shows of the
baby.
Empire. which is half foot in, half foot out, still maybe canon.
Let it go, man. Ain't canon.
No. His ship is in the remakes of the original Star Wars movies.
Yeah, maybe Sabine.
The Outrider is in Return of the Jedi.
I could see that. Anthony Daniels. He'll waddle through the frame. Just
He's got
live
nothing
action.
better to do. You know what? Somebody tweeted a picture with Anthony Daniels on an airplane, and they were like, "Oh, I got to meet the original C-3PO." I was like, "Original? He's
the only
one."
That's hilarious. So the game's coming out November 15th.
Yeah,
Very
PS4,
exciting.
Xbox One, PC.
Number 1 most anticipated game of the year.
For me, yeah, I mean it's I can't help myself, right? It's just
Yeah.
Star Wars everything for me.
Yep. Real quick, Vader Immortal, Episode 1.
Yeah, I was very
It's all about
impressed.
Vader in Episode 1 then?
The whole series will be Vader Immortal.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't get your joke. Sorry.
The joke is he's a little boy.
Well, when I went in there, when I put on the headset,
This is a VR game.
yeah,
Real quick, regular Oculus or Oculus Quest?
Oculus Quest, which I
Oh, that's-
really
okay.
liked.
Yeah, I'm excited to
Wireless,
try that.
Like it was beautiful inside of there. I thought as soon as I put it on, I didn't do any research before this demo. I thought it'd be Vader, right? So I get
Yeah.
in there and I'm just like a normal person with gloves, and then Vader comes walking into the room, and he walks right up to you, and you get that crazy sense of presence of this guy is massive and totally evil and right here. And it's a really cool moment. He hands you a holocron, which is one of those cubes that only Jedi can interact with. And
Yeah.
you grab it from him, which is just kind of terrifying, reaching out to Vader's hand, and then you
Did you like do anything stupid, like try to touch the bottom of his hand or
Yeah. You
knock it out of his hand?
smack him.
Don't.
No.
Stop that. But you touch it and then it comes to life. So you are a force sensitive being. But you look to your left and there's like an evil Imperial person that's kind of like I don't know what he is, a cyborg of some kind. And then there's an interrogation table there, with the chains and all that. And you're like, okay, I am not here on my own volition. And they take you into the next room is a training room where, remember the droid, the little ball droid that Luke trained with on the Millennium Falcon?
Yeah.
That pops up. You have a lightsaber. It's blue, which is strange. But you have a lightsaber and you turn it on and you're moving around. It's like super cool. But then you're kind of tracking the droid and you're listening to it for when it's going to fire. And then you time your swipe to shoot the laser back.
Okay.
Then droids with sabers come out. But then more of those ball droids come out and they're all around. So you're listening and spinning and hitting. And there was times where I didn't want to get too into the demo just because there's people watching me. But I would hear the droid, over here, and I'd spin really quick and perfectly time it and hit the laser back. And I was like, this is awesome.
That's cool. And it has to be Quest for that, I think, right? Because you can't do too
You
much
can do it on
spinning.
Rift.
Yeah, but it's like you can't
be
integrate
better
too
on
much
Quest, I
gameplay.
suppose.
with
Right. Well, I mean,
spinning,
that's
yeah.
been the problem with a lot of VR now, right?
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
you got that cable that's just pulling you down a little bit.
Yeah.
I think they have Vader being like, so you're surviving my shooting gallery. Let's throw more waves at them.
But it's on Mustafar in his monolith, his castle there.
That's cool.
And you get to freely explore it as the game goes on. This is episode 1 of 3.
Yeah.
I don't know how long these are.
Are you warping or walking?
Both. You'll have the option to do both.
Okay.
But yeah, it seems very cool. Like production values through the roof. Written by David S. Goyer,
Yeah.
who did the Dark Knight trilogy with Nolan.
And 1,000 other things that aren't so great. But hey, Dark Knight was
But
really
I mean,
great. Yeah.
I mean, that's great to have him on here
yeah.
doing a Vader
Maya
story.
Rudolph is in it.
She's a droid.
Yeah,
It's so
I didn't get to see her
weird.
in it.
Okay.
But
She's
so
in the
exciting.
trailer, but it's it's cool. I love Maya Rudolph.
you
It
are
just
a
surprised me.
silent protagonist, right? Like no race, age,
Mm-hmm.
gender. Like you are just your character, and you embody that. So Maya is the one who's going to be doing most of the talking for you.
Right.
So it's a game where Maya just yells at you a lot. That'd
Yeah.
be fun. I'm into that.
Are you looking forward to reviewing this, Kyle?
What? No, it's mine.
Oh, sorry. All right, never mind.
I mean, I want to play it. I mean,
Yeah.
come on, lightsabers in VR. Like,
I mean, it's terrible. You don't want to touch it. Just
okay.
let me.
Yeah, don't go near it,
I'll fall on that grenade.
It's no good. That's great. Also, real quick, Rise of Skywalker. What do you think of the name?
So great.
Yeah.
I mean,
Were you
it's-
in the room?
No,
Oh,
that
sucks.
I did the first one at Celebration for Force Awakens. I was in
Yeah.
the room and it was just electric, but from covering it myself, it's like, well, this doesn't make sense. I just got to run across the street to my hotel. I better just, jot down everything as it's happening at the panel.
Yeah.
But I watched that trailer in my hotel room like probably 50 times.
I was nervous. I was watching it live, and when like the lights went down, they're ready to play it. I realized like my heart was racing. Just like, please, just don't let me down. Please don't suck. It's so
Don't
weird
be
to me.
Borderlands 3 all over
Yeah,
again.
it's just scary. It's a weird feeling to be worried about like a major property like that. Just stick the landing, you guys.
Yeah.
That was the first day of the show, the Thursday before the panel was on Friday. That was kind of the atmosphere. People were just
Really?
kind of like uncertain of Star Wars at this point, of like Disney's handling of it after Solo. You know, I like Solo. I liked
Yeah.
Last Jedi. But, you know, a lot of people had problems with Last Jedi, what Rian Johnson did. And then Solo did not do well in the box office for Star Wars.
It still made its money back, right? Like it's
Well, it
treated
made
like
over
this.
200 million domestically, which isn't bad. 390 million worldwide.
Okay.
It's the first of Disney's to not break $1 billion. So put that into perspective. Like
Yeah.
700, you know, at least 600 to 700 million less.
Right.
And that, I think, really scared a lot of people at Disney and in the community. So everybody's kind of like, what's coming next? Is it going to be good? Is Mandalorian going to be good?
Yeah.
But everybody by the final day of that show was just super hyped for everything that was shown.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with just the names they chose. Like the idea of Last Jedi, it was this big mystery up until you watch the movie. Like, who is the Last Jedi? What is it? Even though I think Mark Hamill's out there like, I'm the Last Jedi. It says it in the opening crawl of The Force
No,
Awakens
it
or
was
whatever.
the boy, Broom Boy.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. It was Broom Boy the whole time. And now
Remember
this
that's
one,
his name.
Yeah. It's weird that in Rise of Skywalker, again, it's basically a mystery box title of like, you tell us what that means, everybody.
Who's the general, like, who's everyone kind of leaning towards of who is?
I think it's
is
just
it
going to be the concept, like
Oh, yeah?
basically the end of Last Jedi over again, of just like he is the myth that propels
Yeah.
the rebellion
Okay.
forward.
Because I was saying, I mean, it seemed like it could be Kylo because he's like technically a Skywalker.
That's like the very
right?
easy solution. I'm
Yeah.
sure it's like, oh, it could mean that after all. Yeah.
Yeah.
He could be redeemed. I
bet he is.
But I think Hanson's right that it is like this legacy of 9 films of these 40 years of stories.
Yeah.
This is the culmination of it. This is the impact he had on these characters.
Right. Seeing the shot that killed me, a couple, Kylo in the woods, body slamming that fool.
Yeah.
So effing cool. They did have
Yeah.
someone having a lightsaber and all these force powers, like, F it. No, I'm tackling you in the woods.
Yeah, yeah.
It's so good.
Meet me in the woods in 10 minutes.
But then also the next shot that just killed me was obviously the opening shot's cool and all that stuff. But the shot that killed me is just seeing Billy D. Williams like laughing in the Falcons. Like,
Oh,
that
yeah.
laugh is perfect. You could do that 1,000 times. You'll never get a more satisfying laugh out of that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I teared up a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
like I was just kind of like, it was like, yes, there's going to be a billion Star Wars things coming out, but this is like the end of that saga, right? Like they kept talking about that before they showed it, and I was just kind of like, damn, it is. This is it.
Yeah.
This is like the story I grew up with, and now it's finally seeing its way to the end, and we never thought we'd see it. But here it is.
Yeah. Do you think, obviously they're going to continue to make movies. They're going to continue to make movies probably pulling from like Rey and Finn and all these characters. Do you think we'll ever see Mark Hamill in a Star Wars movie after this?
After this.
After Episode 9?
Oh.
No. Well,
No. I bet he will.
it's a matter of if they want to continue in that time frame, like after 9, the events of 9, he could be like, we don't know what happens in 9, but if he's still a Force ghost, he might show up.
Wait, you're saying he's going to be killed as a Force ghost?
Well, I don't know. I'm so confused. Like after Last Jedi, one thing I don't think people really realize is like, Yoda like came in and did some crazy stuff in the real world, and
Yeah, lit a tree on fire for Christ's
and
sake.
it's like, what does that mean?
Yeah.
What is their power? And Obi-Wan always saying, "I'll become more powerful than you could ever imagine."
I think he was
Talk to
bluffing.
me. Well,
Please
talk
don't
to me
hit me.
about
Please
that.
don't hit me.
But
Yeah.
now you start thinking about this, like, whoa,
Yeah.
what can they do after they're gone, right?
Right.
Maybe we'll find out in 9. But I could see them being a ghost, but I also see them going into different directions, like further out into the universe or back to the old Republic time.
The Rian Johnson stuff. or-
Yeah, like
okay.
exploring all new things that don't link in any way.
So you're
just trying to
gamb-
create a new stepping stone for the new
Right.
generation.
So what's your prediction? Mark Hamill in anything beyond 9 or not?
On Disney Plus in a role.
Oh, no. I
As a
just
ghost.
want to see what the ghost sees. Like, what's their world? Just even if it's like, hey, Disney Plus, we have a 3-minute video that's just Jedi ghost vision and how they like struggle to come back to the real world, I will subscribe for that.
If you're just listening to the podcast, Hanson made a swimming motion.
What else do you do in the afterlife? I don't know.
It's totally going to be like Sam Raimi vision, like
Along the ground.
yeah,
high speed.
running
Yeah.
through the woods, like to the cabin, and then you'd be like, "Hello, Ray."
Yeah, exactly. Oh, it caught me off guard here. Also, the Palpatine thing. You seem to be in the camp Sentinel. He's going to be his dumb robot self that's in the expanded universe, right?
Well, I mean, the actor said he's dead after Return of the Jedi.
But he said George Lucas told him that back in the day.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, Disney could do whatever they want with it.
Yeah. They're white slavers
Sith don't
after
come
all.
back. Yeah, Sith don't come back. Sith don't come back as ghosts, right?
Yeah.
But what was left? There's already in canon that the Emperor came back, or he had a contingency plan for when he died, that he would basically load up his thoughts and his direction into these droids.
It's so lame.
Sentinel droids, but they're cool looking, but they basically bark his message and continue his legacy throughout the galaxy, right?
And
so
they're-
I think that's super cool. After how they built it up at Celebration, though, in this trailer, that would be a letdown for people.
Yeah, I agree.
We'll see.
I think it's too
But
much
that
expanded
is-
universe to explain, too.
Yeah, that is a out that they do have for in canon.
I bet he's alive. And it's sad. I think it's kind of hokey, but I'm just hoping that he's alive, living as this effed up guy. Because I just want the scene between Palpatine and Kylo, like those two performances playing off each other. Oh, that's a cream dream thrill of a
I
lifetime.
mean, they could do like some kind of weird. Yeah, they said they can't be ghosts, but who says they can't be something else in the afterlife? So maybe he does like appear to him, or in a
Flashback?
dream sequence or something. I don't know.
Another like, another Star Wars spooky cave situation where they go in the second Death Star and it's like, boo! It's gonna be like some weird. It's gonna be something like that. Like some Star Wars fans were talking about like, if there's a Sith Lord and dies in a certain spot, there's like an aura surrounding that spot or something. I guess there's some precedent for that, which is weird. But anyways,
I'm absolutely withholding judgment. Very excited for that movie.
Yeah.
Not super excited about the idea of Palpatine being back generally.
just to connect
see.
all the films, I think it's sure.
Yeah. Do
Gotta
they have
something.
to go back and redo the explosion again of the Death Star? So
Yeah.
it's like not just turns into little dust, but actually collapsing into the planet.
Well, what I want to figure out is that must be connected to why Lando's back, right? Is it like, Lando, you blew it up. Did you see any big chunks fall in any direction or anything? Like,
It went
did you
that
catch
way. Which way, Lando? That way. I'll show you.
What a lame ass reason to bring Lando back. It's
But that-
just like, you remember that, right? Can you help us with
it's going to be
that?
something with that, right? Like, where did you blow that? Where was that? I hear the story, but I don't know where it was.
I hope they have records of that.
I
But
know.
again, they never had footage of any Jedi or anything.
They also,
what?
like,
What's a Jedi?
They're
No.
really bad at like digital media storage in
It's
Star
true.
Wars. Like they can't send things wirelessly. Hard drives are
Yeah.
huge.
It's true. There's
you
like
know?
fun fan theories about just.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard somebody wax poetic on a podcast just about the idea of communication in the Star Wars universe and how it's so limited, and that it explains so much. It's such a fun idea.
It's
And it comes
cool,
down to like
yeah.
the language itself.
It makes
If they
the story
came to
more interesting.
Earth, their minds would be blown. But then we would be watching them float apples and stuff. We'd be like, whoa!
Wait,
They're like-
you can write in this device, and someone across the other side of the universe will receive it on their device.
Very exciting.
You're floating Apple.
Anyways, also just real quick, leaks that happened, which were fun. Like
Uh-oh,
somebody, well, it's not about Episode 9, but somebody at Star Wars Celebration, an actor, leaked like, yeah, we're working on a new Lego Star Wars game, and it's like, oh, okay. I think we
Yeah.
all assumed that was happening, but still fun to hear the new one's
Yeah.
coming. And then also, just on a tangent here, also an actress then who was in Battlefront 2 to connect everything.
Yeah.
She leaked that like, oh, yeah, working on Horizon Zero Dawn 2. You're gonna love what you see. And it's like, I love a good actor leak. Nothing better than those idiots blowing it.
We love you. You do great work.
Yeah,
but
they're all very pretty.
don't
and
leak stuff.
Yeah. Assassin's Creed one's still my favorite.
Which one was that?
Where Kristen Bell basically revealed the whole idea of that it was a simulation.
Oh,
Like, what a-
that's so amazing. Oh, I would love to see the very condescending conversations with actors where you sit down with them, like creative directors, like, okay, you can talk about this, don't talk about this, come on.
Well, I bet she was sold on the idea.
Yeah.
Kristen Bell, and like, okay, here's everything that's going on. And then did her role,
Yeah.
but didn't play through the game and assumed all that was probably in the game.
Part of the
Right,
marketing.
right.
So, you know, a year later, like, oh, yeah.
Whatever.
I'm
All the
surprised they
same.
trusted her with all the good place stuff.
That's true. Do you know what really pisses me off? You know what grinds my gears over here? Is the episode 9 panel. I watched the whole thing. Seeing Kathleen Kennedy and J.J. Abrams being coy and like saying, oh, I don't know if we can say this. Like, they're the top of the stack. They should effing know what they can and can't reveal and don't do those stupid teases. Like, know confidently what you are going to reveal and reveal it. Don't toy with the entire audience with just an hour's worth of like, I don't know if I can say. Can I say, Kathleen? I don't know. Can you say, JJ? Just shut up. Just say something or don't. It's insane that they get away with that stuff.
I think it's cute.
Just like JJ, like, I don't know if I can confirm that the characters get together in episode 9, if everybody on stage will be together. Like, just, that's a 0. Just effing say it.
Your messaging is turning Hanson into a Sith Lord.
Yes.
Like, before our eyes. He is
Absolute power. Anyways, on a lighter note, Supraland.
Oh, that's what a transition.
I have no idea what that is.
This is a interesting little indie game that's in the vein of a Zelda, yet Kyle compares it to a Metroid.
Metroid Prime, specifically.
And this is on PC only at this point?
PC only, yeah.
Supraland.
Supraland. It's a big guy. It's little guy, big world. You're in like a sandbox, and there's like a child who created it. And it's funny because you'll run into characters who are part of this religion where they believe there's a child building the sandbox, which is kind of fun.
Yeah,
but,
we see him about 4 times a day.
Yeah. But it kind of took me by surprise. It's structured a lot like Metroid Prime in that there are like these big interconnected areas, and each of those areas has really well-designed puzzles within them. And to progress, you need to acquire certain items that change like how you move. Like, for example, like in like the middle of the game, I got a magnet that would let me like climb metal structures and stuff like that.
Oh, you're a sucker for that.
Yeah, and it's cool. I really surprised me. I like the level and like world, like the layout. I really like a lot, and the puzzles are really good. It even kind of makes me think of The Witness sometimes because you're following a lot of wires along the ground and stuff like that. It's cool.
Has a cat visited the sandbox?
No, not yet. No cast yet.
Because I had a sandbox, and guess what?
Yeah,
Never fun learning there was a cat in there.
That might be later in the game. Yeah,
That's probably the big twist at the end.
There's also something it's a small thing, but there's like fast travel points in the game, and what
okay.
it does is like, because there's no like ceiling, so to speak. So the way you get from fast travel from like the beginning of the level to like where you are now or whatever is you just get on a jump pad and it flings you across the whole map. So you can just kind of look down and see everything as you go by.
Fun.
Well, you don't need a PS5 for that then.
And
That's a solution.
PC Gaming Rainer, give it a try. What are you? It's like first person, you're like a red gingerbread man type of thing.
Yeah, I think you're like a Play-Doh. I think you're made of Play-Doh is sort of the loose idea, and there's like, because early in the game you walk past like plastic shells where ideally the child was like making cutouts of these characters, and you're red Play-Doh, and then the bad guys are the blue Play-Doh, and you're trying
in
to like
sand?
Yeah,
Gross.
yeah.
That doesn't make sense.
Are you going to review this game?
Yeah. I have just to give you a little insight into like the way things work here. It was something I was checking on to see if we want to review it.
Yeah.
So I went to Joe and I said, "Hey, I like this. I want to review it." Then World War Z came in. And that's a priority. So I'm doing World War Z right now, and then I'll get back to Superland. And so I'll have a review for both of those.
And then World War Z happened. And World War Z is a Left 4 Dead style game.
Yeah, it's very Left 4 Dead.
Okay.
And it's based on the World War Z movie, not the book.
I think my grandpa told me about that film.
Your grandpa?
It's
Is
an
Brad
old
Pitt
movie
in
at
it?
that point.
Yeah, it is kind of an old movie. Yeah, it's that Brad Pitt movie.
Did they get Brad Pitt?
No, I don't. Maybe. I
His
don't know.
likeness?
No, I don't. I haven't seen him yet.
That's fine. It's a
Maybe
big
he's a
world
zombie.
out there.
That's true.
So
It's not based on the, was it book? What do you even call that thing?
there's
guide?
there's the book, which is, I like the book. The book is cool. It's like a series. Every chapter is like a singular story about here's something that happened when the zombie apocalypse occurred. World War Z is different. It's same like universe ostensibly, but it's like it just follows one character as he tries to find a solution for what's going on.
Drinking Pepsi.
Yeah. And then so even this is so a dumb like confusing thing, but it's like they're licensing the film, but the structure of the stories is like there are 4 campaigns,
Cool.
and each of the 4 campaigns is a different set of characters in a different part of the world.
So it's more narrative based than a Left 4 Dead.
Yes, I would say there's more story than there is.
So it's
in Left 4
more
Dead.
like the book, which it's not based on.
Yes, exactly, because the book is like a series of small disconnected
Well done.
stories. Yeah,
And books you read, movies you watch, games you play. Is that right?
that's correct.
Okay,
Yeah,
great.
and so to get back to the movie, like regardless how you feel about the movie, I thought it was okay. I like that movie fine.
The zombies climb up the wall.
that was the coolest thing about that movie, right? Like the way the zombies move, like they sort of function like ants, kind of. Like, and I thought that was I think that was the best part of the movie. It's just like looking at the way those zombies work.
Yeah.
And that is fully integrated into the game visually and gameplay as well. Like you'll get to these points where you have to defend a spot, and like they'll be below you, and they are climbing on each other like ants to get up to you. So you have to like fire grenades at the base of the zombie pyramid, and it like knocks everybody back, and the physics work really well.
This is a very funny time for this game to release because I feel like another game that was also inspired by World War Z featuring zombies might be coming out next week.
What are you talking about?
Days Gone.
Oh, Days Gone.
It's crazy.
Sure, yeah. They're both like big swarm-based zombies, yeah.
'Tis the season for zombies. It's warming
It's
up.
always for the season.
You're going
for
outside.
zombies.
You're
Coming out of
fearful of where
hiding.
you're going.
So
Yeah.
I've played about half of the campaigns. Me and Serial played together a good bit, and like the things that have impressed me so far, like I like the way it looks. Like there was one area where we were like making our way through this big like tunnel or this big like area. I don't know the best way to describe it, but the thing I'm getting at is like you could look up and there was like zombies were like climbing. They were just like funneling down. So like the whole area was like raining. These
like an
zombies coming
hourglass.
down.
Like
I mean, kind of, yeah. And like it looked really cool just to like look up and see. They weren't even like a threat. They were just zombies coming down, like raining down on us, and it looked cool and it was running well too. Like
that's good
it
to hear.
doesn't. The physics don't really. There's a lot of zombie bodies, like way more than Left 4 Dead. And it maintains like the physics well, and it runs well. Like Sterling and I had a good time playing through 2 of the campaigns.
Okay.
how many repeated of the same shirt?
Oh, I don't know. I mean, they're
You gotta
they're
count
pretty.
that. You gotta put that in your review.
Yeah.
wanna
I mean,
know.
there are like probably like 3 times as many zombies as there are in like something comparable like Left 4 Dead.
Oh, that's nice.
It's also third person, which I happen to like. Like I just generally prefer third person games.
I mean, so you seem to be enjoying it so far.
I like it so far. Yeah.
Is there a world where this reviews, or World War Z, where this reviews better than Days Gone?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not reviewing Days Gone.
Okay.
But maybe. I don't know. I think it's really nailing what it's going for, which is like a Left 4 Dead style game with like a more visually compelling version of zombies, I think.
That's really interesting.
sounds cool.
And it's
Yeah.
Saber Interactive
Saber
developed it?
Interactive, yeah.
Okay.
Who has a
Congratulations.
strange history. They like dabbled with Halo at some, like they
Yeah.
did some of the ports. They do a lot of ports.
I always get them confused with Certain Affinity. It's
And
like,
then
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Bert's
those two.
reminded me earlier today that they also do the NBA Playground
Right.
games. So it's
Yeah.
a very diverse studio and good early impressions for
good
sure.
early impressions. Review on the site within a week.
Yeah, my deadline is Monday.
Okay, great.
We
That's
wanna get it in the
very, very
magazine.
open
Oh,
to
we'll
know.
see. I mean, that's when we'd like it, but
Yes,
if
okay.
it takes longer,
If it takes longer, it takes
yeah.
longer.
Sure.
Yeah.
World War Z. All right, I think we covered everything in the world at this point. But there's still more to talk about on this podcast. So do you two goons want to clap out? Oh, hello, Joe Juba.
Hi.
And JV Gwaltney.
Hi.
The fun crew. Fun fact, you guys sit next to each other in the office.
And on this podcast.
That's true. What is-
For you audio listeners, JV and I are sitting near each other.
that's a fun fact as well. What's it like sitting next to each other in the office?
Most days it's okay.
There's a lot of snickering.
Yeah.
From who? To who?
Both of us.
Yeah.
At
No comment.
Okay.
Brian Shea? What are we talking about here?
I think, Elise and Brian Shea also sit on our side of the bullpen.
Yeah.
And I think that there is snickering going on all sides, everyone at everyone.
That
Yeah,
sounds
that's
terrible.
pretty fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
It-
like World War II in there, but with Snickers.
In our bullpen, Leo and I laugh. We laugh at good jokes and good vibes. None of this backdoor snickering going on in your little bullpen.
No, sorry. I find other people's misfortune hilarious.
Oh, okay. That's
Yeah.
good.
I think that's the first thing I learned about you.
Hey, Katana Zero.
Yeah.
Oh.
Ta-da!
I don't know. Do you have a review score locked down, Joe?
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Judging from the response, which I'm very excited about. I know nothing. 875?
No.
What is it, Joe?
775.
Oh, interesting.
But
okay.
my enthusiasm comes from it's an interesting game to talk about.
Okay, great. Just because it's more layered than you think. You might have seen trailers for this. It's on the Switch and PC, and it's like, okay, looks a little Mark of the Ninja, side-scrolling action game, tight controls, got it. But then there's these added layers of depth that we talked about before on the podcast. It's like you're visiting your psychiatrist, you're going home to the ninja apartment or samurai apartment at night and unwinding and watching your neighbors party next door, and just like this added layer of humanity to a tight performing action game.
Yeah.
Is that it?
That's sort of it. It's also your first perception of it. It's like, oh, this is like 2D Mark of the Ninja. Okay, maybe a little like Hotline Miami going on here. And it's very different from what I thought it was at first.
Okay, how so?
To me, and I know JV can maybe disagree, but it feels a lot more like a puzzle game than an action game to me.
Like in a super hot kind of way?
Yes. I think, at least, sorry, don't mean to butt in, but yeah, I think it's much more super hot than it is Hotline Miami, because Hotline Miami is so focused on quick reaction times. You could have to do like a minimal amount of planning in Hotline Miami, and you're constantly picking up the weapons that your enemies have dropped. So it's about creating like combos. Katana Zero, if you're ever in a place where like guns are going off and you're having to avoid enemy fire, like you've kind
already
of
lost.
screwed up. You've
Yeah.
probably
Really?
screwed up. Like there's a
Okay.
90% chance you will die if someone gets a shot off at you and you're not in slow-mo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's got that element of like, as opposed to like the game you might think it is, it's not like a reactive improvisational kind of game. It's a lot more,
Trial and error.
and it reminds me a little bit, even though it's like kind of different genres, it reminds me a little bit of Super Meat Boy in the sense of like you need precision, you need practice, and persistence, and that's
And maybe specifically then with Super Meat Boy, it's after you finish the level, then you get to watch like the playthrough of you going through it again, which is very Meat Boy.
yes, that's also a part of
Yeah.
it.
And
You can
it's
skip it if you want. But
And it's super cool too, because like when you're playing it, you're slowing down time to like bypass stuff, to like know when to deflect bullets back at opponents. But when it plays the security tape after the level, you see yourself in normal speed. So it makes you feel really powerful watching that, just because it gives the illusion that like oh no, I was actually running that fast.
yeah, so something that slow-mo, it might have been like, you drop, slow-mo, reflect a bullet that way, and then like, time restores and you move on.
Yeah.
But in the replay, it's just like, whew, ding, ding.
And you look perfect. I love
Yeah.
that. That's
Yeah.
very super hot.
It's smart.
Well, how was the story stuff overall?
Bad.
Really?
It is.
Chafee's head fell off. He was shaking it so hard.
It's an interesting failure. I will say that.
Which again is sort of where that enthusiasm comes from, because in the first couple hours of the game, it really gets its hooks in you. It sets up a foundation and a mystery. Like if this were a game that didn't have any story and was just sort of like the sort of actiony puzzle levels,
Yeah.
like I think it would stand alone pretty well. But because it like really draws you in with the story and really sets some expectations in those early hours, that's what makes the sort of falling flat of it that much worse and that much more disappointing.
Oh, that
Yeah,
sucks.
it feels like the equivalent of like you're like two guys are just sitting there like creating a world together, talking about it, like, oh man, wouldn't it be cool if like there was the slow-mo drug and we're in this cyberpunk city, and also there's a war that's vaguely like the Vietnam War going on. And, there are things with like perception and stuff. The problem is it's just concept after concept after concept. Like that's all the game ever does. It just introduces you to concepts constantly. It doesn't really have a story, or at least like an interesting story that's worth following. You just get wrapped up in the world and then realize about halfway through, like, oh, they're jumbling way too much.
Yeah. So where in those first hours you're like, okay, that's a neat concept. I can't wait to see how this comes together. Ooh, I wonder how that resolves. I wonder how these things connect. And then it's just kind of like, oh, it ends.
Don't say anything.
Well-
Are you nuts? Don't say anything.
I-
it doesn't
I-
resolve. That's fine. We said it. We're good. Let's move on.
Okay,
We're good.
Hey, just let me say that all of this, like when the actual like credits roll, when it's the end, you will have trouble believing that is where the end is.
That's interesting, because talking to the developer at GDC, it's like largely a one-man band. I think he had some help
Yep.
with like art and music on the side and stuff. And he said originally it was more just like that pure action game. And then as the game went on, he worked more and more story elements into it. And at some point, he was talking about like how kind of trippy and surreal some of the plot elements were in the game. And he described it as like, oh, I think the story of this game is the story of me losing my mind over spending 6 years making this game. And it feels like that, where it's just 6 years of kind of concepts thrown into a vague storyline. Okay,
I guess
fine.
so.
It's hard. I mean, like
That's fine.
it's hard to say, because like it's not even that the concepts are bad or not interesting.
Totally.
Like the problem with the story is really just the way the points don't connect in a satisfying way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine. But overall, you enjoyed it.
Yeah. As much as I was disappointed with the story, like I was really frustrated with the ending, to the point that I was just like, oh, I don't even want to play part 2. But then I immediately, if there ever is a Katana Zero part 2 or Katana Zero 1 or something, but then I immediately loaded back into the game and played the first 2 levels, because like the action is so much fun.
Oh, cool.
But I do think it would actually be a stronger game without a story. Like I totally
Wow.
believe that.
That's wild.
And this is like when this game succeeds. Like this is a game that when it succeeds really well.
Yeah.
That concept of going into a room that is elaborate, full of a bunch of different guards, and making a plan, and practicing, and executing, and failing, and starting over, and learning from your mistakes, and then finally at the end of it, walking out of that room as just like the lone survivor, because like every hit is a one-hit kill against you. So that just means that like when you finish a screen, you've essentially done it flawlessly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there are some frustrations though, not to like give the illusion that the gameplay is perfect. You know, before we move on to whatever we're gonna move on next, like there are some serious hit collision issues in that game. I feel like where like, oh, there's an enemy that's under me on a staircase, and I attack, and I literally watch my sword chop through his head, like phase through, but it does no damage, and then I die instantly. Like that's a thing I ran into a fair amount.
Yeah.
And again, it's one of those things where like, oh, well, I can just rewind like 30 seconds and it's not a big deal because every level's pretty short.
Right.
But it is frustrating, and it does sort of like, I just don't like losing in a game when it's not my fault. You know, that kind of bugs
Absolutely.
me. So,
You know what this game feels like to me?
What's that?
Feels like a very tough call for Game Informer's top 50 games of 2019.
I mean, we have to see what's at the end of the year.
do.
Yeah,
I mean, I could see it going either way.
It's a bubbler.
Yeah.
It's a bubbler.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those on the fringe candidates, I
Yeah,
think.
but-
I want to add that I hate the term bubbler. It just makes me think of like a
No,
fart.
hang on. I'm actually listening. Yeah, it's sweeping the nation. Everyone's saying it. This game's a real bubbler when it's on the bubble
Stop
for Game
this.
Informer's
Stop
top
it.
50. I'm sorry. Leo, have you heard this term? It's really cool.
I started it actually.
Yes, now it's good. You know what?
I like it now. Leo did.
You know what game I started playing, Joe?
What's that?
And I think you're into this series. I've never touched an Ace Attorney game.
Oh.
And I've been playing it on my Switch, just the first one.
Yeah.
What a delight.
Oh, I'm so glad
I feel
you
like
like
a
it.
real jerk not paying attention to this series before. Like, I'm not even that far. Like 2 episodes in, right? Just having finished the first 2 episodes of the first game. But even just that first case, it's about 20 minutes or so. It is the most beautiful, intense little tutorial, like twists and turns, a roller coaster of emotion. The music's kicking ass when it needs to. You
Oh,
think
man.
you're finished. Last Hail Mary at the last second. So much fun.
Yeah.
Is the rest of the game going to be this good?
Yes, but not on that short of a timeline.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, so like the cases, especially in that first game, they get rough because I think I'm trying to remember, is it 5 days for those first cases? Or for that
There's
first
5
game?
different cases. Yeah.
No, I don't mean so there is a point in the series, like after the first game, they cut down the number of possible days that a trial can go.
Okay.
But it's longer in the first game. So in the first game, the trial, it takes longer to get to those moments of, there are more sequences of court investigation. After the first game, they really hit their stride in terms of condensing that, pacing into a way that doesn't feel like you're doing as much just poking around.
Yeah. Okay.
But
just more to the great Matlock moments of people undoing their tie,
Oh.
getting nervous.
Oh,
like just the
God.
best anime Matlock you could ever hope for.
it absolutely is. And like, I don't think there's a single exception to the fact that like the moments where you finally have the clear killer
yeah.
like is on the ropes and they're breaking down and they're stammering and that music is
it's so good.
like, yeah, that is great universally through, well, all of the games, but the one you've got is those first 3, which
Right,
is a
right.
great place to start.
Also, I think I was just expecting a port, and I don't know if they did this work for the iPhone version or what, because it's been ported to almost everything at this point. But with the latest remasters, like I didn't expect it to look so good. Like they redid all of the art.
Yeah, so it's
really
It's
impressive.
not the same because like if you would have taken the original art, because I think in Japan the first Ace Attorney was like a GBA game,
Yeah, yeah.
even though it came out DS here.
Oh, is that how it shakes out? Okay.
Yeah, but so if you would have just translated those visuals over, like that would have just looked real pixely, right?
Right.
So yeah, they sort of redid the art and stuff. I think it looks, as someone who is generally against those sort of like art style smoothing and changes, I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, and it's
So-
aged pretty well overall. I mean, for a visual novel, adventure game, however you define this thing, like it's tough for that genre to really age too poorly at this point.
Yeah.
There's some stuff like April May character in the first game is a little bit like, oh, woof, Japan. All right. Like this bosomy lady is making it very clear that she has a way with the fellas. And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, we got it. But
Yeah, there's some of that goes on.
okay, it's
still.
anime, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, it's still there, but I mean, it's also just like charming and funny in a way that I wasn't expecting when I first played it too. The way that like you're like, okay, I get it. All these names are puns.
Yeah.
Right? Like, okay, this guy's name is Larry Butts or whatever.
Sure is.
If something stinks, it's probably the Butts, which seems lame, but then like it grows on you, and suddenly you're like, oh, if something stinks, it's probably the Butts. And like it brings you in a way that I don't know.
You're really missing out, man. You got to go.
No. I mean, there have been several editors I feel here who have been like, no, you need to play this.
It's crazy because you love visual novels and adventure games.
Well,
and all that stuff.
I liked making one. I don't really like visual novels in general.
Oh yeah, that's the kind of person you want making.
Yeah, that's real weird.
Try it.
No. I am gonna try it. There are some that I like I like Steins Gate and stuff
Okay.
like that. So I'll play that one eventually. It's just a matter of finding time.
Yeah. Instead, you're too busy playing Final Fantasy VII on your Switch.
Which is broken.
Wow.
Well, my run was broken.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly what are you talking about? So you were obsessed with this game-breaking bug that you encountered in Final Fantasy
Yes,
VII.
I've raved about it.
Yes,
in
exactly.
the meeting.
Now, I'm
I
in the
threw a
game-
desk
I
across
feel
the
bad
meeting.
because I love 7 and I would love to play 7 again on my Switch. So just hearing about you having this issue, I feel like my instincts are to be like, it's probably not that bad. JV's being a little baby.
Mm-hmm.
Technically, you could run into one bug if you like talk to this person at Wall Market 14 times in a row or whatever.
Yeah.
But how bad is this bug? What's it doing?
I mean, there's an event that has to trigger early on during the wall market, and if it doesn't trigger, it's like, oh, you just can't go forward. And like PC players found a way to fix it by going in and messing with like the configuration file.
Okay.
But since this is on Switch and Xbox One, there's no way to dive into the configuration file. So it's like you have to restart the game.
That's so wild.
Yeah.
At least, I mean, okay, that sucks.
Yeah, that does suck.
And it's a reason to like not buy the game, and Square Enix needs to fix that. But if you're in Wall Market, I'm just saying
Not
it's
bad.
not like you're losing a 40-hour save.
Yeah, no, it's early
You're
on.
losing 3 or 4 hours at that point.
Yeah.
Maybe?
Yeah,
I think
if
like
that.
3.5. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you a big Final Fantasy 7 guy? Have you?
No,
played a
this
lot
was
of-
going to be my first time, and I
Oh, really?
Yeah, that's why I was so bummed about it.
Yeah,
because
which
like,
is really a bad way to have a first experience with it.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah, because like
sorry
I had
about that.
assumed like, oh, this is like eating your vegetables, sort of like, okay, this is going to be an archaeology sort of thing that I have to do just to like understand why this game's important. But I enjoyed it. Like
Yeah.
I really enjoyed playing it, especially like with the cheat modes on where you can just become
It's
super
absurd.
powerful.
That was so good.
Just
Yeah.
slam. I assume it's the same on this as the PS4. Just slam both sticks in. It's like, all right, replenish fully in health. Don't mess
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah. No. So I really enjoyed it. I was really enjoying where the story is. So I might give it another go like 6 months from now. But it's one of those things where it's like, I'm bitter about putting the time investment in there, even though it was like only
Yeah.
3 hours. It's just like, oh,
Just do it, man. Because the rest of that game, I don't think it ever feels like vegetables. Maybe navigating like in the north at the start of the second disc is a little bit vegetable-y. But outside of that, like
Yeah.
I think everything in that game has a nice tone to it that
I'll
keeps you
probably-
driving along.
when we go to E3, I'll probably play it on the plane or something.
You're never gonna go back to it.
No,
When I go to E3, I might. No.
No, it's still on my. I didn't delete it off my Switch.
Okay.
it's still on there, so I feel the pressure to play it.
We'll see if they patch that problem.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I started up Final Fantasy 10-2 on my Switch because I
yeah.
have 10 and 10-2 because that came out this week as well. And I was like, well, I just played 10. Then I realized like, oh wait, that was 2001 when I played 10. So it's been a little while. But
Time is brutal.
I know, but like 10-2,
Wait,
I've never really played.
2001. That's when it came out.
Yeah, I haven't replayed it. I don't think.
Wait, so
ever.
you said I just played 10.
In my mind, it's
knowing
like 10
that
is fresh.
it was when it came out.
Yeah.
No, I mean I know what
Okay.
you mean. Like I've
feels
also
fresh.
had that sensation when the original remaster came out on like PS3 or something.
Yeah.
I was like, I feel like I just played this. No, I haven't played it since it came out.
Maybe I just think about it every once in a while, or I've watched other people replay it. I
I
don't
think
know
there's
why,
so
but-
much like wacky shenanigans. Like Final Fantasy X, I think is one of like the 3 that I've played and beaten.
Okay.
And there's so much in that game that sticks out in my consciousness that I've returned to of like, oh, there's is it Titus or Titus?
Oh, man.
Titus.
Interesting word
Titus,
choice. Yeah.
Laugh.
Famous Final Fantasy hero titty.
But also, Ben's dead, ladies and gentlemen. We have killed him. But also Sin is really cool. Like when you think of like
concept. Oh,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
I'm with you.
Yeah, so there's a lot there that like I just constantly return to that game in ways I don't expect, even as someone who didn't really love it. Like I liked it when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know.
I'm with you. Joe, when was the last time you replayed 10?
Last year.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Maybe that's why it's so much fresh. Should we talk about it on the
Did
podcast?
you do the review or like the
No, I went. It was on PS4, which God, I mean, I don't think that was a recent release last year. I think I just was in the mood to replay it and went back and I actually got the platinum trophy on it just because I was like so absorbed and so into it. And I mean, man, and that's another like the music, that soundtrack in that game is probably my favorite. Second only to Final Fantasy VI in that whole series. Like that opening sequence when it's like
Xanarkand.
looking out at Xanarkand is amazing.
The metal song when Blitzball's being
but
attacked
there's
is
that.
amazing.
There's the hymn of the faith, like whenever you're that pervasive sort of like chant that's going on.
Yeah.
I just love it.
It's very good.
Yeah.
It was so weird then starting Final Fantasy 10 too and be like, it's been a while, I guess, since I've played 10, but the idea of Yuna doing this, like going out on a stage and singing that comfortably is not the Yuna I remember from the game.
I think that's kind of part of the message of that game too, though, is that like that she's still resolved, but she's a little meeker or deferential in FF10.
Right.
But then in 10-2, it's sort of her, I don't know, growing more into herself, gaining that confidence and becoming more of like a public figure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just to put you on the spot, Joe,
Uh-oh.
and I know you love it, and you love clearly boiling games down to ranking
Okay,
things.
I promise you that I will not refuse this
yes.
on principle.
Don't refuse the call.
Okay.
Ready?
Okay.
Final Fantasy X-2. In the overall ranking of all mainline Final Fantasy games and their sequels, let's count that.
Okay.
What is Final Fantasy X-2 above and below?
Oh,
I'm not asking for the full ranking right now, but
Yeah.
like, what is the area in your mind that
Yeah.
10-2 exists in?
Man, that's really tough. I would say 10-2 is probably, so I'm weird in this regard because like a lot of people didn't like that game as much. I thought it was
But you did.
too strange, and I did. So it's definitely in, man,
Above 13.
probably it's
Wow.
probably above or around 13. But again, I liked 13 a lot more than some people too. So like it's not in the tier of like FF10, FF6, FF4, FF7.
8?
Maybe it's not quite as high as 8, but it's also like it's definitely above, I would say, I mean, it's above 12 for me, I think.
Really? That's telling. That's really interesting.
I like 12. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's probably around FF8 and FF12.
Are there any
Wow.
Final Fantasies that you don't like that you just like, oh, this is garbage?
So
After years?
I don't, if you even want to count that, yeah. But I mean, there's like Final Fantasy 3 doesn't totally do it for me. Final Fantasy 5 doesn't, and I know 5 is one that has a huge cult following.
I'm surprised. He's like the systems guys love 5. I'm amazed you're not one of them.
I think for me, the issue with 5 is that like it was so pioneering with a job system, as was 3. Like both of those are very like job system focused. But by the time I actually got around to playing them, I had played games with different and sort of more advanced job systems, to the point that like it didn't hit me with the same impact that it could have if I'd played them when they were just like new.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
I had no idea that apparently Motomu Toriyama, the director of 10-2, also directed 13, 13-2, and Lightning
Yep.
Returns. That's the name of that game.
Yeah.
Also, everyone's favorite Final Fantasy game that no one on Earth has ever talked about, Final Fantasy 12 Revenant Wings for the DS.
I reviewed that.
Did you? Do you remember what you gave it?
No, I don't. I didn't like it.
Okay, is that bottom of the heap if we're going to count that one?
You don't even count that.
Okay, never mind. Also, Mobius Final Fantasy, like the mobile game apparently is what that person's doing now. The sad mobile fate of old Final Fantasy directors. Anyways, Joe, you've also been replaying Dragon's Dogma on Switch.
Oh man, I could talk about this for a whole we could do a special edition podcast on Dragon's Dogma.
You have 4 minutes.
JV can attest to this. I really talked to Xeroff about it yesterday.
Oh, God.
All I did was ask him like, does it work? Should I play this?
Does it work?
that is literally it. Does this work? Should I consider it? And I talked at him for like 5 minutes.
I appreciated
God.
it though. It made me more enthusiastic.
This is the old
for it.
Capcom action RPG. You could climb on monsters. That was the bullet point. And it's dark at night. Those are the big things. And every time this game is re-released, Joe comes out of hiding and his head won't stop screaming about this game.
Yeah. So this is from the director of the recently released Devil May Cry 5.
Yeah.
He was almost going to make Dragon's Dogma 2 and made Devil May Cry 5 instead. I win either way.
And it's crazy because learning about his development history a little bit too, like he started out working on the old Dungeons and Dragons Capcom stuff.
Oh, really? Yeah, those are fun games too.
Yeah, and like Capcom's Quiz and Dragons, is that what that game is called? Like
Puzzle and Dragons.
No, Puzzle and Dragons something else.
Really?
Yeah, I think it's Quiz and
Oh,
Dragons.
no, it is Quiz and Dragons.
Yeah. Puzzle and Dragons is the mobile thing. Anyways, but like, so he had those
Quiz
old
and Dragons. What a weird game.
He had those old fantasy Capcom roots, and he always wanted to make a real fantasy, like his take on D&D, and that's what Dragon's Dogma is, literally D&D.
Yeah. So you know how, like, one of the reasons why I love it is it's got, you remember, Ben, on that Outer Worlds trip when one of our rapid fire questions is a little bit of jank a good thing?
Yeah, a little jank in the trank.
Yeah, a little jank in the trank. Dragon's Dogma definitely has some jank in the trank.
Oh, good. Okay.
I would put it on par in that department with a game like Deadly Premonition. It's got
so
that.
It doesn't work.
Well, it works. It works, but it's that very peculiar sense of when like certain Japanese developers try to emulate a sort of Western style of like open world or something.
Okay.
But with that being said, there are some things about it that I just think are fascinating beyond the just grabbing onto monsters and stuff. Right. Here's what I really need to talk about.
Yes.
Is the pawn system.
Right.
The biggest selling point of this game is the fact that JV's smirking already because I talked to him about it. The biggest selling point of this game is the fact that when you start, you create a secondary character that you don't control. It's AI controlled, but it basically has it can have all of the abilities of a player character. It has a class, different armor you can equip on it, whatever. Then it gets uploaded to a server and other players can download your pawn as a party member. And then that pawn gains knowledge and helps them during their quest. And then when they're done using your pawn, it brings that experience and that knowledge and like any gifts that they want to give you back to you. So it's this feedback system of like, you want other people to use your pawn. You get to see what other players have created. Let's say you want to do a quest that you don't know how to do. You can find a pawn who has done that quest already, and they might have some like helpful things that they can offer along the way. So it's this really cool like asynchronous social element that is amazing.
I don't think I've ever seen Joe smile this much unrelated to someone's misfortune.
Yeah.
Did Jeff Cork review the game originally?
Yeah,
for
he
us?
did. He did. Yeah.
Okay, it felt like it was in the 8 territory.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I'd score it much differently than that.
Okay.
High 8s.
It's just a lovable, weird little action RPG.
Yeah.
That has aged well, or just gotten quirkier with time, I guess.
And the thing that I wrote about it last week, and not to spark a fire about From Software games, but like when I think about what gives me problems with From Software games, I'm not saying From Software needs to change their approach to their games to like accommodate me, right? But for me, what turns me off of those games sometimes is like a lack of concrete progression. It's like, you don't really like get a lot of new skills. Armor is a lot of like it's a lot of like build and lateral choice rather than feeling like you're getting better. Dragon's Dogma, like that's not the case there. It's like, yeah, you get better armor, you learn more skills, but I think they're fair games to compare in the sense that like they take place in these kind of bleak fantasy worlds that has this sense of a lot of lore kind of bubbling under the surface that you have to look around for a little bit, and gives you a sense of danger in that like there are quests that you can just totally miss in Dragon's Dogma. There are NPCs that like if they die and you can't get their items, or they can't give you a quest later. Or but at the same time, Dragon's Dogma is a little more overt in its narrative delivery, so you don't have to like commune with other users online and trade notes to try and figure out what the basic story is.
Yeah, and Sekiro gets away from that a little bit, but I understand your point. I got it.
Yeah.
Dragon's Dogma, run, don't walk, you say?
I mean, I really like it.
Okay, that's great. And it's on the Switch. Do you guys want to move on to emails?
Sure.
Here we go. And welcome back to the Informer Show. A whole new crew here. We keep rotating. We have, let's see, somebody new for the community email segment. Suriel Vasquez, ladies and gentlemen.
Me. Hello, everyone in the community.
How many weeks are you rolling here? You keeping track of this?
No.
It's got to be like 56 weeks in a row for community emails.
Sure.
Okay, great.
That's the official number now.
Dan Tech.
Good evening.
Okay, cool. And Ben Reeves.
And good night.
And what have you been doing all day, Ben?
I've been messing around with some dreams.
How's that going?
Good.
How many games have made you laugh that you played in dreams?
2
Which ones?
for sure. And then all the rest, I'm laughing how ridiculous they are and how much better I could make them.
Is that right?
Laughing with arrogance. What was your question?
What are the games like that make you laugh?
There's one called, it's like Quantum Donut or something, which
Okay.
I thought was a good name. And so I played it. And it's all about like getting fatter and thinner. Because you ate a quantum donut. That's kind of fun.
Oh, that's a fun idea.
Yeah.
I played one last night that was called like Paying Respects or something. And it was called Video Game Graveyard. And so you go there and it's just like this green field and there's like tombstones everywhere. And you just walk up to the tombstone and it just says Telltale.
Ben Hansen?
Yeah. Telltale Games. And then instead of pressing X to pay respect, each tombstone for a different video game concept is a different little joke. Like, so the Telltale one, it's like the timer with the 4 Telltale classic options. Or then you
cool.
walk up to Metal Gear Solid and it plays like this orchestral music and you have to like spam the X button repeatedly, like as the meter goes up.
All right.
It's very fun.
That's
I played that one too.
good idea.
Isn't that fun? Do you remember any other ones within that specific game? Like any little jokes?
Fallout 76, and you pressed X to pay respects, and it said respects not processing error.
That's good.
Good stuff.
This is the fun part where like you can play and there's like you're like, oh yeah, I saw that one, and like in a couple months it'll be like, oh, I haven't even heard of that.
Right,
That's what I want to
right.
get to, like the really obscure
We're,
stuff.
we're basically the equivalent of like the launch games on a new console at this
Yeah.
point where it's like, oh yeah, I remember playing Contrast, like all the go-to launch games on PS4.
Cameo.
It was
Yeah.
all right for the time.
And everyone has to talk like this. That's not bad. You haven't played Perfect Dark Zero?
Oh,
The facility levels DLC.
I love
It was 2005, and the people were playing Call of Duty 2.
And I liked it. People wrote into podcast@gameformer.com with games, emails, words of wisdom, good thoughts. There's like, hey, I was hanging out with my friend and I was thinking about this about video games. Anything you're thinking about video games?
Wait, they can send in thoughts now?
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh,
just
good
think
thoughts.
really hard
Good
at
thoughts.
podcast@gameinformer.com and we will receive it. Please write in. If you're watching the show, listening to the show for the first time, you said, why don't these idiots talk about this? podcast@gameinformer.com. Punchier the better. A lot of great emails. Some are a little wordy. A lot of great stuff in there. We choose our absolute favorite email of the week, and then we honor where that person's from by putting it on the big board.
That's right.
My friend Grant, he called it the little big board, and then he called it the Little Big Planet. And now I love the idea of calling that the Little Big Planet. I think it's very fun.
That's good.
We get a few emails from, the outer galaxy.
That's
Yeah,
right. Then
stick
we'll
on
have to
there.
change
I
it
get it.
up. Yeah,
Yeah.
some of these emails are pretty out of this world. Well. Wait.
Calm down.
So. First email's from an old classic, Chris Reardon from New Bedford, Massachusetts.
Old classic.
It's such a dumb idea. Like,
Like talking
are
about
we
a
gonna do
car.
the screamy thing?
Is that it? Wait.
God.
No.
Because we're listening
pass.
to each other. We know when it's coming up.
It's always coming up.
Chris Reardon from New Bedford, Massachusetts says, hey, there's a lot to unpack from Mark Cerny's PS5 reveal in Wired. That's a thing we all have to get used to. We already talked about it earlier in the show, but remember that time Mark Cerny revealed the PS5 in Wired?
What a weird place to do that.
I loved it. It was so bizarre.
I mean, it was a good article.
It's a great article.
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I liked it.
I loved it. As far as articles go. Anyways, there's a quote here. It says, as he did with the PS4, Cerny acted as lead system architect for the coming system, integrating developers' wishes and his own gaming hopes into something that's much more revolution than evolution. Is it normal for platform holders, unquote, by the way, is it normal for platform holders to discuss Is it normal for platform holders to discuss hardware development with game developers? My impression is that in the past, platform holders were imposing their own will on the devs. I think of Sony forcing motion controls into PS3 games and touchpad controls into PS4 games. Do I have the wrong impression of this, or is this unusual?
I would say the impression is pretty wrong, actually, because like the biggest development story that I remember hearing is how Epic really pushed Microsoft to put, what was it, $512 megs of RAM in the Xbox 360 over
Interesting.
256 because of Gears of War, basically.
Right.
So I think they do talk to developers a lot.
They're close partners, the ones they
Yeah.
can really super duper trust. And like, I mean, this was a lot of brilliant messaging from Sony, but I think for the PS4, that was a big messaging point, is Mark Cerny going around talking to developers, figure out what they needed. And I don't know if it came from that or later, but I think, was it Gearbox that really pushed for the RAM in PS4 to go from 4 to 8? It was something, I think it might have been Gearbox.
Well, I think there were a lot of developers asking for that too.
Yeah.
It wasn't just Gearbox.
Yeah, you're right.
So I don't think it's Sony imposing their will on developers as much as them trying to actually have the developers at least offer their feedback to them so they can make a system that people are going to want to make games on.
But as you heard from Lorne Lanning's interview last week, sometimes, maybe an older Sony was a little more arrogant, like with the PS3 launch, PS2 launch, and they weren't as interested in talking to developers. But now it's just like a win-win. Like, why wouldn't you?
I mean, I could definitely see them being, quote-unquote, arrogant when it comes to things like cross-platform play, changing your name maybe. But I think in terms of developing the specs of the hardware itself, I would imagine they're pretty open to that.
No, Dan, you're a PC
Hey.
guy. I don't know if you're familiar, but
Yeah.
a lot of next-gen console talk.
Oh,
Because like
cool.
every 5 or 6 years or so, like
Well,
the game
you know-
industry kind of like refreshes and we get new consoles.
Yeah, PC2 is on its way.
PC2,
we're getting it any
really?
day now.
Do you think you can build a PC that'll match the specs
I don't
of the
know.
launch PS5?
I don't know. I don't know that yet.
Okay.
We can discuss that when we have all that
Okay,
information.
all right. I still get emails
The
about
answer
that,
is
Dan.
yes.
I bet you
I
do.
bet.
Okay.
I bet you do.
All right. I bet I do too because I see them every week.
Well, it will have an SSD, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of that, Dan?
You're
That's
saying
great.
you could do that this week. You could build a
I'm not saying that.
PS5
I definitely didn't say that.
this week.
I want to make it very clear
And
that
you
I
can
never
sell
said
it
anything
in
like that.
store shelves as the PS5. You're telling us that to our
You're
effing
saying all the
faces.
components you need are under this table right
They
now.
probably are.
including Mark Cerny, tickling our toes.
Sony might not have
got me.
trademarked PS5 yet.
Actually,
Does
that's a
anybody
good
double
point.
check this?
That would actually give it away if they trademarked it.
Yeah, they don't want to spoil it.
Powell from Lodz, Poland. There we go. We know
Cool.
loads about Poland. He says, hey, you guys are crazy for not liking Yoda stories. This game was way ahead of its time, and I played it for hours on PC as a teenager. Procedurally generated game sessions with maps of variable sizes, puzzle elements, both environmental and point-and-clicky, endless roguelike dungeon crawling fun, really. By the way, can you recall some games from your early years that you were unaware were panned by critics, but you enjoyed?
Yoda stories.
Yep.
Yoda
Indiana
said
Jones and
one.
his desktop adventures.
Uh-huh.
Definitely up there.
I definitely had one. And as soon as you asked the question, it left my brain.
Perfect.
I had a few of the Gundam games for the PlayStation 2.
License stuff is huge. For
Yeah,
this, right?
Federation versus Xeon. I remember thinking at the time, like, oh, they did it. They made a good Gundam game finally. And I years later looked at reviews and say, oh, I guess no one really liked it except
Yeah.
me. That and Gauntlet Dark Legacy. Which I remember.
Oh,
I
everybody
remember.
loves that.
That was
Okay.
panned?
Was it? Was it? I remember it being panned, but
Was
maybe
it?
I'm
Was
wrong.
I
the
recall
Legends
that.
everybody
Legends
loves?
everyone liked,
Right.
And I never played Legends, but I played. I obviously because it was a thing where it was. I brought my friends over and we just played through it. For hours and hours straight. And
Yeah.
I remember, looking at reviews for it and seeing that it was not banned.
I remember me and some friends really loving Fusion Frenzy back in the day.
Yes.
And I think it's because we didn't have access to Mario Party, but we were like,
No, I like Fusion Frenzy a lot too.
I think everybody does.
No.
right?
I get tons of crap in the office for liking Fusion Frenzy all the time.
especially the second one sucked supposedly. But
Yeah.
I remember
I don't think I even played
I
the
don't
second
think the
one.
first one reviewed well either.
Yeah, I don't think it did. Yeah, maybe you're right. But yeah, I have fond memories. Probably because I just played the demo with Halo and those two games where you're running up the spiral staircase
Everybody
and jumping over the
remembers that one.
lasers
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever.
Oh, yeah.
That was fun.
Yeah, that was
fun
fun.
enough.
Also, I played a lot of Garfield games back in the day. Any Garfield game that came out, there was one on the Genesis. I remember
Caught in the act.
that might have been it. Yeah,
Where John Arbuckle walks in on Garfield making love.
doing it to lasagna.
Oh
Yeah.
boy,
Here we go.
here we go.
Here we
Hanson
go.
just can't keep it down.
I was thinking about that too. I played Garfield Caught in the Act on Game Boy, or I'm sorry, Game Gear, and it was bad. But I still have
Do
fond
all
memories
kids
of it.
love lasagna?
I didn't. You think? Did you like lasagna as a kid?
I liked lasagna fine, but I never understood why Garfield loved it. Why is that his favorite food over pizza? It's why
Because the turtles
lasagna?
have pizza already. He had to plow a
No,
new road.
he could have had
Didn't
pizza
Garfield
first.
predate the turtles?
Yeah, he could have had pizza if he wanted it.
Yeah, he
when
was
was
there
the-
first.
Leo in the booth, can you please look up and figure out who came first and by how many years? Thank
Or
you.
like
Wait,
spaghetti.
is the argument Garfield over the turtles? Who
Yeah.
came first? It's got to be Garfield.
But Turtles, like there were those comic books for a while, right? The
Yeah,
weird
but
black
those
and
were
white
still
ones.
like the mid '80s.
Yeah, that was
Were
still
they?
80s, I
Because
think.
Garfield's what, like 1978?
Yeah, I think even earlier, maybe.
Okay.
Leo, can we get a...
I'm looking them up. I see Garfield here, exactly 1978.
Oh yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen of the
Nice.
jury,
Okay.
am I not your god?
Yeah,
you got
that
the
means
date
you were
right.
wrong.
That means you were wrong if the Turtles are later.
Yeah, but I was wrong on my own
You
accord.
played yourself.
correctly wrong.
Lasagna's okay.
Okay, great. I don't know. Like, I think back. Is there a chance a game like Number Munchers actually isn't good?
Oh.
I don't even know if
Yeah.
the games that I would bring up even got
Probably.
reviewed.
I mean, hold on. Well, if you're gonna go that way, I mean, Oregon Trail's not a good game, right?
This
were
is-
all
this
just
is
sort
where
of
I'm
like
leading.
chained
Yes,
to
it
our
is.
desk.
It is a very important game. I think it's an awesome game. Game design wise,
Right.
Time and place.
1971, it's the best roguelike ever made. It predates Rogue.
See, with a game like that, which doesn't play well today at all, when it was the only game, it was revolutionary. And you
RNG, what's this?
Sure, but
I think it has to be
Pac-Man's
viewed in
also
that
super
context.
old, and that's still fun to play. So it's like,
Yeah, Pac-Man's no doubt a better piece of game design than Oregon Trail on the Apple II, but I will still say Oregon Trail compared to everything else on the Apple II, top 10%.
Oregon Trail might still be the best game you can play at school.
That's true.
No, see, I was going to bring up another class
than
of
Fortnite.
games, actually.
Yes.
There was a whole class of learning games that I was really into as a kid, where you'd this little kid in a coat. You'd walk. There was a Treasure Mountain,
Yep.
and then there was one where you go to a school, and that was the one that taught vocabulary. It was very good. I learned a lot playing that game.
Tell from your diction.
you
Yeah.
played this from your radioactive bunker?
No, this is sort of like the this is Oregon Trail days. This was the evolution of the
Okay.
in classroom software kind of thing.
Sure.
Yeah.
These were good. I forget what the series was. Learning something.
Learning how to be a human?
Whatever. I know Treasure Mountain was one of them.
Okay.
No, learning to become a human became much later.
Oh,
much
I
later
see,
in the
I see.
series.
It's learning how to eat a human.
You'll notice how in sync they were.
Hey, they planned that one out.
Leo, when did TMNT come out?
1984.
Okay.
There it is.
My point exactly, you heathens.
You got us.
Anyways, Josh.
Garfield was a member.
The long lost fifth member.
4 turtles and a cat.
Josh Adams says, recently listened to your guys' podcast covering Mortal Kombat 11. You guys mentioned how to show appreciation to developers, and I thought that was great. Not enough positivity on the internet. Oh, thank you. But also, I wanted to thank you guys. He said he went through a hard time dealing with some depression, and he found our Extra Life 2018 stream, and he says it took the entire week, but he watched the entire 25 hours. Was that 25
That's
hours?
awesome. Yeah, it was
Oh.
25.
Wait, it took him a week to watch 25 hours?
Yeah, he's barely trying.
What are you doing,
Can you imagine
dude?
going home every day and just watching that,
such a-
though?
yeah.
Like, that is such a hardcore commitment.
Crazy.
Good God.
Thank you for watching it, and also, thank you.
I hope you didn't try to bid
I don't
for any
wanna
of the
insult them,
auctions.
That's amazing. Yeah, I think the auctions would be so frustrating to watch. In a
Did he try to
recorded
bid
one.
on the auctions?
He won
He
two
like
of them.
called in.
Yeah. He says, hey, really just wanted to say thanks and keep up the podcast. We'll try. He said he's telling all his friends. That's helpful. Everybody else could do that too. But when is the next Extra Life and any plans you want to hint at yet? So it'll be early November. I have a big Evernote note in my phone. That's an app that's just filled with ideas, like rollovers from last year and stuff. Dantac, for this year, I definitely want you to cook some stuff.
Yes,
even if we have to pre-record it.
We may have to. As you know, the dates for that often,
Line up with BlizzCon.
Yep, usually.
Yep. We already have a good pile of stuff to auction off. If you saw our rapid fire with Ed Boon, Mortal Kombat 11, he signed like an old issue of Game Informer. We have a couple other autographs. I forget exactly who's in there now, but there's some fun stuff stacking up in there. That's
cool.
I think the Mortal
I think
Kombat
JV's
stuff.
in there actually. We're gonna.
That's
auction
right.
him off.
Yeah, Elise signed JV, so that's pretty
Yeah.
exciting. I was listening to Penn Sunday School, the podcast, Penn Gillette, and he went to Japan recently, and he was talking about how this member of ZZ Top bought these eye drops in Japan that are like mint eye drops, basically like Listerine eye drops. What? And he said that he used them, and it's insane. And then Penn Gillette tried it, and he said it was absolutely bonkers because it just feels like you're pouring acid in your eyes for like 30 seconds or so.
Okay.
And then eventually your eyes just feel like minty and refreshed. Maybe it's more than 30 seconds. But that it's like excruciating pain dropped in your eyes. And I said, this might be a good Extra Life thing. This might be a good substitute for
Oh,
peppers.
interesting.
It's just pouring acid in
I
your
wondered
eyes.
where you're going with that.
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
What do you
yeah.
think?
Don't like this.
Would you do it if it's like several minutes of like, oh my God, my eyes are going to fall out of my effing head, but then at the end your eyes feel minty and cool
Yeah,
I don't
I mean,
like anything
honestly, if
with the
people have ideas on what to do,
on how to
write
torture
into
us
the podcast. I would love
Oh,
to
yeah.
know, like,
Okay, yeah.
what should we do
to
to
for
ourselves
charity.
For charity, obviously.
Yes, it's very important.
What would you pay money to have us do to each other?
Exactly. Podcastinginformer.com. We'll take any idea. Any
right.
whatsoever. Jared B writes in and says, "Greetings from God's country, Kansas City, Missouri." Okay.
God's country.
I think that's right. He says, "I've recently been playing through some GBA games, Metroid Zero Mission, and Fusion, most notably. And I was honestly thinking about how much I missed that specific point in time in gaming. So let's get nostalgic." Have you guys seen this? This nostalgia stuff?
Have
Video
you
game
guys seen this?
industry?
Have you heard
I've
this?
heard of the idea.
Yeah, he says, "Tell me about an era of gaming you're the most nostalgic for, or any specific experience in games you constantly look fondly back on, and why."
It was the SNES and Genesis era for sure.
That is-
probably
Okay.
and probably even deeper than that, the RPGs of that era.
16-bit RPGs are your
Yep.
jam. Are you a Phantasy Star guy?
Yeah, it was then.
Okay.
I mean, I think I like the nostalgia factor. I think I like 2 more than I like the big dogs 3 and 4.
Okay. 4 is like the go-to default,
Four is
right?
4 is like the best one.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, for me, I mean, it's a lot of PlayStation 1 stuff because that's where it really got rolling, but I have a sweet spot in my heart for like platformers on the Genesis, just licensed trash.
Sure.
Because I always go over to my neighbor and friend Kayla's house. And it's always like this fun, exciting thing, like, oh, hanging out with Kayla and playing old Genesis games. So it's like, I'm excited about that Genesis Classic system coming out. It's like, yeah, I do have a sweet
Yeah.
spot in my heart for this thing.
It's like Altered Beast was not that good, but you know what? I had so much fun playing that game.
Yeah.
Just like you said, at the neighbors.
At the neighbors.
At the neighbors.
I have a huge, I can pinpoint it to like a specific year even. Like 1998 was like such a cool year. Is the year that Panzer Dragoon Saga came out.
No
which
one
is
has
an
ever
amazing
talked
game.
about that game, Reese. You
It's
saw
all-
the views on our website when you posted that story.
I'm planning something big. Wait for it. But other than that, StarCraft came out, the original Resident Evil 2,
Metal Gear Solid.
Metal Gear Solid, Ocarina of Time. Like it's just like a bunch of games that are like my favorite games of all time.
Half-Life.
Did the first one Half-Life come
Yeah,
out?
Half-Life is 98.
I think it's 98.
Yeah.
Am I
Ocarina of
nuts?
Time. Ocarina of Time.
It's
around that.
Yeah.
Anyway, and I looked it up the other day too, and like Blade came out that year apparently. The movie.
Huge
That
for
was
you.
that was a great movie.
It's about
Yeah.
games.
Yeah. Well, I was like, he said nostalgia. What are
Right.
you nostalgic for?
98's like your peak living.
I brought Panzer Dragoon Saga into the theater and played it while watching Blade.
So you recently interviewed the creators of Panzer Dragoon Saga.
That's right.
What'd you learn?
That Japanese interviews are hard to do.
How were they personally?
They are very nice. And there's all these rumors floating around that like that old source code got lost, and that's why we've never seen these games resurrected. Although there are remakes in the works, so that could be cool.
That's right.
I'd really rather see a remake of Saga, but if we get a remake of the first two, that'd be great. I mean, he said specifically, the director, that was the hardest game he ever had to make. And they had to restart it a couple times. So
That's fun.
that was like, for me, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah.
My big nostalgia thing is probably just StarCraft in a lot of ways because
Hell yeah.
there were days where I would just play nothing but StarCraft, but it wasn't even like, hey, I'm going to learn my build order. It was all just playing the custom games where you'd play random crap. Like here's a mode where you spawn a unit every second and it's all themed around copyright stuff. Like, hey, here's this Family Guy game where like I'm the Peter Griffin character and I'm just spawning Marines every second and they all just say, hey, it's Peter Griffin, and then when you get X number of kills, you evolve into a Dragoon and it's like
Nobody cares about Dragoons.
It was Peter Griffin in like the chicken suit was the Dragoon or whatever,
Yeah.
and so you just eventually overwhelm your enemies. It was dumb, and then you'd have stuff like the first tower defense mods that I played, things like Bounds, where it was basically like you'd run into it was like an obstacle course basically, and then sometimes you'd go to a certain map and it would be pornographic, and you would just come into the state and you see the mini map. It was an explicit image, and then everyone left the server about a minute after that, and so the game was over.
That would happen.
That would
I don't
happen.
know. I don't know what that was about.
I remember that now.
It's a good time. Are you good at StarCraft 1?
No, because all I did was play the custom games.
But do you have like a race?
If you want me to play the Peter Griffin character in that mask game,
Yeah.
I can whoop ass.
but you have like, who's your go-to race? in
probably
StarCraft 1?
Terran. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Those space truckers, man.
Okay. What units do you go for?
I would probably go Goliaths because I like them a lot, and then 2 I went for Reapers. 'Cause
Okay. Oof.
jetpacks are cool.
I get cold chills thinking about Goliath Online, and then just watching them try and find their path. Because when I think like nightmare pathing, it's Goliath and Dragoons in that game.
Dragoons were definitely rough.
Oh my god!
They have these
brutal.
giant, the Goliath specifically had these giant like horse-like steps where they would just like pop, 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 pop.
But
And
they're
it's fun.
cool, man.
They're cool.
They're cool.
Did they fix some of that for the remake? The remaster?
I don't
changed any-
know. I think they tried to keep it as literal as
They
possible.
did, but maybe there was some minor pathing stuff. I don't know.
Okay.
That's really some minutia. Right
I'm sure
there.
the hardcore crowd would even be pissed if
Right.
they changed some of the broken pathing because that's
I
just
agree.
that's
Just
part of the
crazy.
meta or whatever. Anyways, Adam from Southern California. Don't get specific. He says, "Hello, Hanson and the Hansonettes."
The Hansonettes.
Okay, never mind. Following the poor reception of Anthem, Adam says, "What do you think are the chances of BioWare trying to recoup losses by remastering and releasing the Mass Effect trilogy for current consoles? Is it likely? Me want to play so badly, me want to play now." Oh, that's great.
Yeah, why not?
Honestly, that is the best bit of goodwill that BioWare could get rolling out the door. Is just at E3 if EA is like, by the way, Mass Effect remastered. It's not inconceivable. The only
not at all.
So EA remasters, I think they've only done Burnout Paradise from that generation. I can't think of anything other than that. Unless
But
I'm missing something.
For like that trilogy, you know.
They
could
do
make it
Command
happen.
and Conquer.
They're doing Command and Conquer, but that's
Yes.
from an earlier era. But I mean, still, it shows that EA is willing to fork over cash for remasters. Like, honestly, doing 1, 2, and 3?
Did 1 ever come to a PlayStation platform?
Yes, it did.
It did, finally?
Yep. Yes. It was eventually released for PS3.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to see that. I was actually just thinking recently, I was like, I should play through those games again.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I know we've
And-
said it 1,000 times, but everyone would buy that on their Switch.
I think it's a pretty
effing
decent
heartbeat.
chance.
If they ported some of the like updated stuff, like 3's combat into 1, that'd be best case scenario.
That said,
I don't know about that.
Don't do it.
I don't
why?
think their plans are altered in any way by the success or lack thereof of Anthem. I think if they were doing it, it'd
Yep.
be all right. It's not, Anthem failing didn't say, oh, well, now we got to shift gears over to the Mass Effect remasters.
Because I doubt BioWare would even do it. They might consult
right.
for it, but I'm sure
Yeah.
they just get, one of those.
I think at this point
courthouses,
they're-
Nixus or
yeah,
whatever.
I'd say at this point they're more concerned with Dragon Age 4 being good.
Well, yeah, that's going to be 5 years before they find that out. I don't think it even recouped the costs from Anthem. Like, Anthem must have cost them so much money.
Yeah.
6 years of hundreds and hundreds of developers.
It's a big one.
Anyways, Damien Vines says, "Hello, this is Damien from Louisville, Kentucky, first ever God's country." He says, "I was wondering, does anyone else remember the super duper graphics pack for Minecraft announced at E3 a couple years ago? It feels like a fever dream because I haven't heard anything about it since." He says he likes the Mortal Kombat coverage. Good job, Serial.
Yeah.
That's crazy. This was 2017. They announced the super duper graphics pack
Sure.
for Minecraft. Not out yet.
What's it supposed to do?
Was it HD or something? What
It was like
it?
it was HDR, and
remember.
they changed the lighting and textures a little bit. It was pretty subtle stuff. A lot of it was just
Yeah.
lighting, but it is crazy. That was 2017. It's not out. It's supposed to be out 2018, and nothing, not a
Huh.
peep. Isn't that frustrating?
Stuff
I mean,
sometimes.
yeah, I
you
guess
know?
for Minecraft players it is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hasn't
actually,
affected my life.
I went back to Minecraft
Yeah.
yesterday. Some friends have just been craving it, so we went back into our old world, which we hadn't seen in 3 years. And it was like wandering through your childhood. It's like, what is this? How do we make this amazing roller coaster? Like, who made this? What the hell? And we were like halfway done with what we're calling the Chunnel, which is just this underwater tunnel that's all glass.
Where'd you get the name for that?
I just came up with it. Fun
Oh,
little
it's
invention.
cool, dude.
It's all glass, then we're going to break the ground at the seafloor. So it's just going to be like this cool underwater path that's just going all the way across the ocean.
Oh, that's cool.
And you got to get like a car system in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
It reminded me Minecraft might be the best game ever made.
It's really good. And with the mods, you can keep that thing going forever. Like I go back to it every 8 months or so. Is
Really?
when somebody's like, Dan, there's a new mod we got to play. Get the server up. We're gonna do it again.
What type of mod stuff?
We really like the RPG style survival mods. Like the Divine RPG was the one we were big into back in the day. I think there's a new one that we're gonna try out pretty soon.
Really?
They have like all kinds of like leveling systems and gear and all kinds of stuff that isn't in the normal.
That sounds
set.
super fun.
It
So-
actually is. Yeah.
So I'm really excited for Minecraft Dungeons, which is supposedly coming out this
Right.
year. Is that kind of trying to harness some of that?
I think
good
it
mod
might be.
stuff?
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are these people you're playing with? They're like old friends from the bunker?
Yeah, my old like the people I played World of Warcraft are basically
Yeah.
they've never stopped being my gaming crew. Like
Yeah.
they're like if you were in those early days of WoW, the people you were playing with then are like your life crew.
Right.
It's just like how it was.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Also, it's just weird going through like the shop for Minecraft these days because like, what are all these skins? They've released so many. It's like I can play as the Incredibles in Minecraft. Like, what the
So
hell
are
is
you
going
playing
on?
on console? Because I don't
I
see any
am,
of the stuff.
I am,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Wait, they don't have.
No, I'm
the
sure
dumb
they
store and
have
stuff?
that stuff on PC, but everybody
Okay.
just whatever they want, they just mod it in. So it
Right,
doesn't matter.
right. No, I'm still playing on PS4. I was playing on PC back in the day, but I switched
Right.
to PS4. Anyways, Derek from Charlotte, North Carolina says, hey, with Tiger Woods winning the Masters tournament recently, his first major in over 10 years, ladies and gentlemen, what is the likelihood we get a new Tiger Woods PGA Tour? Seems like it would make sense to piggyback off the charming likes of RPG Golf, Everybody's Golf, etc.
I think his name isn't quite as
Why? What do you do?
clean as it used to be.
He wasn't winning Masters tournament.
Yeah, that's why.
exactly right.
He was no longer a master.
The Masters. Only on PS4.
Yeah, I talked to Kato a little bit about it. He's like, yeah, I think that whole thing kind of fell apart amidst the scandal and the whole wife thing and all that stuff. And now he said that apparently that golf club has the PGA license. And he thinks that might be an exclusive. So EA would have to get that
What's that
back. And
called?
then also,
PGA Golf Club, is that what it's called? I have no idea what golf.
I think it's just called Golf Club, but it's like licensed with the PGA.
They got to bring him back for like Golden Tee 2. Or whatever.
Oh,
Just
Judgment Day.
resurrect the Golden Tee series.
Well, wait, don't they still make those though?
I think they still do, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But they could put a Tiger Woods themed one. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're just spitballing here.
Just spitballing here. James from 37 Sesame Street. What's meaning? If you could tell me how to get there, that'd be really nice. Go! He says, I was listening to last week's episode, and during the interview with Oddworld's creators, I was surprised at how open they were with you, and it made me wonder, what interviews have you done where you managed to get more information than you're expecting out of your interviewee?
Mine was, coincidentally enough, Lorne Lanning. I interviewed him
really?
probably like 10 years ago about, there was a Lost Oddworld game that they never made. Hopefully they'll get around to it. But it was about cats and dogs.
Living
You
together.
remember this? Yeah, living together. It was chaos. But I asked him like one question, and he started talking, and like half an hour later, I asked my second question. I was
Wait,
like,
not only-
you
Wow.
can talk.
Not only did you start talking, you're telling me the story. Come on, tell the details of what he sounded like when he was talking about the cats and dogs game.
Well, because he's like, oh, you gotta like pitch it to the team, you know, you gotta really sell them on it, because you're like, oh, cats and dogs, like nobody's excited about that, so you gotta sell it up, and it'll be like, meow, meow, bark, 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 and it's just like that was like the stuff he was saying. He was like pretending to be a cat and a dog fighting.
Wow.
As he
Come
was
on, we
like,
gotta make this game, you guys. You know, dogs bark, 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 and cats are all like, "Meow."
I can just see that. Like I can just see the room.
well, he's Lord
Wow.
Lanning. He does a lot of voices.
Yeah.
And they're fun, and like he's a charming guy, so it's kind of like I could see being on the team and like kind of getting into it.
Yeah. People were very nice leaving comments about last week's interview, by the way. I'm glad people enjoyed that. For me, it's usually like rapid fires, and it's usually this weird thing of like you're getting so much info to these developers, and it's just like the floodgates. And normally there's a PR person in the room very nervous about like what all are they saying? What could be the potential horror nightmare stories written from this interview? You know, that's a PR person's job. And when there's so many answers coming out of them, you can see PR people's eyes roll back in their head as they can't keep up with this stuff, right? And so it gets to the point, like, you remember when we did the Miyamoto one?
Yeah.
And Miyamoto's like, oh yeah, we're making a Paper Zelda. Like all that stuff is like, all right, moving on. It's just like the weird thing, like, okay, great, keep moving on before any questions are asked, I guess.
Pretty sure he's joking, but
We'll never find out. Here we go.
there was one too where we went and did a Hellblade cover. And we were talking to Tamim out there,
Yeah.
who are now owned by Microsoft. But
Yeah.
back then it was like just small team, like almost no PR. And it was Hellblade. You asked him some question about like, is this game going to be fun? He's like, no. And you're like, what? It was almost
like,
like stunned as a back. It's like you'd never hear that from like a developer who had PR with them.
Right.
But I appreciated that, like, you know, honesty.
And it wasn't him saying it was going to be a bad game. He was just saying, like, we're not going for fun. We think
Yeah.
all games go for fun. We're not trying to make a fun game.
They were
here.
trying to do something different.
Yeah.
And I actually ended up liking Hellblade a fair amount.
Did you
'cause
have
it had
fun?
Such a, I don't know that I did, honestly, but it was
Okay.
like a cool experience.
Yeah.
Maybe not even cool. It was a unique experience.
Sure. And it's out on Switch now.
It is.
Just to give us our, at least
And-
wrote an opinion or
So
an
we're
article
gonna-
about it.
A good article. You
Just
should
go
look
read
it up.
I remember walking into that, what ended up being basically a press conference that Gabe Newell gave at Valve, thinking like, okay, I have my questions for Gabe Newell, and then, all right, let's see what he's gonna say. I imagine it was gonna be like a pre-brief, and we were all gonna talk to him individually or whatever. But then he just went on like that whole spiel about like, hey, we're making games again. Which have they? I mean.
Well,
haven't
they're
announced
making
it.
that
They released
Half-Life
one.
VR game,
That's
dude.
true. But I remember him like talking, like the depth to which he went into like talking about here's what we've been up to the past several years, and that leading into Artifact, and in context, it made sense of why he would have that lead in. But I remember thinking, all right, card games. Let's see, what do I want to talk to him about? And then he just went on this whole thing about the company's history. That was like the one time where I figured, oh, that's way more than I thought I was going to get.
There are certain people that I don't think are great speakers, but I love listening to, and like Gabe Newell is one of them. So clearly, he's a very smart guy. I don't think he's a great speaker. He always sounds like he's out of breath when he's talking, but still, like, I wanted that audio when he got back. I'm like, I want to hear everything Gabe has to say about absolutely everything. And I think he reminds me a little bit of like George R. R. Martin in that way too, where I've just been devouring so many George R. R. Martin YouTube clips. It's like, I don't think he's a great speaker, but there's something about it. It's probably just interesting. That's the word I'm looking for.
Interesting people.
They have interesting things to say.
That's right.
Let's see. Andy writes in and says, hello, GI Scallywags. As a reformed pirate, I'm proud to say that I've purchased with real American currency every game I own for the last 9 years. I can't believe I took advantage of so many developers during the pirating craze. My question is pirating still as much of a problem now as it was back in the day? By the way, P.S. Dark Souls equals heartache and no fun. Sekiro equals heartache, but so much fun.
Oh,
Interesting.
Is that a haiku?
I think so.
That's a good one. So we don't have numbers or anything, but I think today it's become harder to pirate because a lot of stuff's so tied to games of service and specific accounts that you need to play the game.
Right.
So you're either paying through a subscription or something else that you need to do in order to play the game instead of just downloading the pirated version and a crack for it, which still happens. I mean, those sites are still out there.
Yeah.
Having to ping a server, I think, is probably a big detriment.
That kind of stuff.
Detriment to piracy.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, I feel like
you can't pirate Fortnite, right? If you're gonna buy stuff, you're gonna buy stuff.
But there's plenty of other games that are still available out there to imagine.
For single player games, especially on PC, I'm sure that it's still rife. It's still out there.
God, I'm trying to remember at GDC. I feel like you hear some of those stats. I wish I could remember what the game is, and it's still just insane. Where it's like, yeah, we had 6 million people play the game, and we only sold 1 million copies or something. It was like clearly.
How do they measure that, though?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if it's like somehow they can track active users.
Leaderboards, maybe
something like that. I forget.
Yeah.
I know. I'm sorry for being so vague. I can't remember exactly what it was, but it wasn't that long ago where I just got a big epiphany again of like, oh, that's right, piracy. I just don't think about it anymore.
Yeah.
But of course, it's all over the place.
I definitely remember a few years ago it being a much wider concern and a bigger point of contention in the industry. It's things like EA's Project $10 and how they would try to. This was for used copies, obviously, but I remember them thinking we have to find a way to sell more copies of the games new, and then eventually I feel like that tapered off. And then now I feel like the only time I ever hear about piracy or developers being concerned about selling their games is when, this new game has Denuvo and here's how it affects your PC's performance, or like it has some weird bug in it that opens up your computer for a malware or whatever, or like, hey, this game they already cracked the Denuvo on it. I don't know how to pronounce it. Denuvo?
No one does.
Is it Denuvo? They cracked it in like 3 days, and then I think that company talked about, well, as long as we can protect them in the first week, that's all that matters.
Oh,
right,
really?
right. Huh. Tom from Duke Faison from Hungary. He says, hello, Ben and the Hanson brothers. Hello. I was really into Lion King when I hit the silver screen, and I desperately wanted to make something Lion King related. I made a ball game where you had to lead a ball from one point to the other by balancing a board, and I just slapped Lion King on it. Yeah, it was lame. But sometimes modern tie-in games are not different today. My question is simple. Did you ever try to design a video game or any sort of game, like a board game, as a kid, and looking back on it as an adult, it was clearly bad?
Yeah.
The board game thing is an interesting round.
That was clearly bad? No, I had some good stuff.
Okay, we'll get to your good stuff then.
I made a mod for StarCraft, actually, that was based around Four Swords, it was not
like
good.
an erotic Four Swords adventure.
That's right. It's just this little mini map that shows on your screen. It was supposed to be this thing where we made this enormous map and just filled it with enemies, and then had the players play as 4 different links. And then and the idea was that you would level up by defeating enemies, but we didn't know anything about making video games. So the enemies were just strewn around randomly. There were just alleyways that went nowhere and had nothing in them except for enemies. Okay. So you weren't really doing anything. And the idea was that you wanted to kill everyone on the map before you got to the boss because the boss was so hard. But then you realized the boss was stupid easy and you could basically run through it at the beginning. And so when we first uploaded it to say, hey, now you can play our game, no one played it. So we got very depressed. But it was like we spent like a good like 2 days on it trying to figure out how to balance things, and it was all just like altering numbers randomly, not knowing is this good? Like I don't know. Like we've put enemies everywhere on the map, just like I see in all the games that I see. So
Are you saying that most games take more than 2 days to make?
yeah, like what the hell?
That's disgusting.
Dreams lied to me.
Oh yeah.
I was like obsessed with X-Men. I still love X-Men, but I was like, it'd be the coolest thing. Like two of my favorite things at the time were like X-Men and Final Fantasy. And I was like playing Final Fantasy 6 at the time, 3/6.
Just say 6.
Whatever you want
Let's
to
all
call
grow
it.
up and just call it
Yeah.
6.
And I was like, man, somebody should do this with X-Men. And so I like wrote out like a notebook, and I had like all these notes on like this is what Cyclops would do, and this is how you attack. And I think I sent that in to somebody. Like there was some contest, make your own game. And I was like, you guys need to make this.
Come on, you guys,
And
you
then-
general guys.
Then they did. They became rich.
I was just thinking the other day. I remember
really
like
cool.
going on camping trips and thinking about my dream game, and it's so stupid. Why are kids so stupid? But I was thinking like, what if there's a game where it was just like our world, like just houses and stuff, and then you could just pick up anything you wanted as a weapon. It's like from weird violent fantasy or something. It was like, you would just pick up like a pan and like that was a weapon, right? Or like a golf club and that was the weapon. And I remember the closest I eventually saw was like, oh, Dead Island's pretty close to that, right? For just a
Wait, who is the enemy in this game?
mommy and
Or was it?
dad.
Or, no, really. I mean, like, no, really. Was it just like was it battle royale? What the hell was this?
I don't know, generic bad guys. You know
All right.
the drill.
Well, since it was set in,
Right.
All right.
Yeah, I don't know. It's evil terrorist or something.
Okay. That you beat with a pan?
Yeah, it's not
You were
important.
like 8.
Yeah.
All
I
right.
think that's it. It's just like it's that basic childhood fantasy of like, if bad guys kicked in the windows, what would you grab in this room right now to fight them?
Sometimes you just gotta like kill.
No, I get it.
Yes.
I get it. I do get it.
Sometimes you just feel the need to beat someone with a pan.
Yes.
Sure.
You get
Well, I mean, you wouldn't understand. You grew up in such a wholesome environment.
designing great games like
I did. And since you were talking about board games, actually this ties in with what you were saying too, since it was, okay. So here's the setup. We were playing a bunch of like board games like Hero Quest, Dragon Strike, and some other stuff like, some Warhammer kind of stuff. We had tons of figurines. And I decided I wanted to make a modern day version of that.
Ooh.
So we still used all the figures, right? But none of the like cards or the rules from those games. So I made the Dan Quest, which was basically, I'd been playing a lot of
Okay.
Earthbound. You can ask people.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I've been playing tons of Earthbound, so I was like, I wanted a more modern take on it with pans and golf clubs
Hell
and stuff
yeah.
like that. So it was more, you played as like a grade schooler in that environment, sort of Earthbound-y thing combined with Final Fantasy kind of stuff. And, it was more or less D&D in the modern day world. It was fun.
That's great.
That reminds me, I had like, it wasn't Magic, but it was like this Marvel version of Magic. You know what it was called?
Marvel versus, Marvel Versus,
Marvel
maybe?
Versus. And I like made a card that was my cat, had my cat on it.
Okay.
And he had like all the best stats, and it was like this ultimate card.
That sounds pretty cool.
And then I would play with it, and everybody would be like, what the hell is this? Nobody ever let me use that.
Did you just put a picture of your cat on it, or did you draw it on there?
No, I drew a picture of my
Okay.
cat. Yeah.
That relates to something. I wasn't a dumb kid. I was a super cool adult. But like 2009, I don't know if you remember 2009. It was a fun time. I was like senior year in college, and Facebook games were huge. And I'm still confused why I haven't seen this game exist. But I was like, holy crap! I need to make a collectible card game based on your Facebook friends. So you'd be pulling and building a deck randomly
your
selected
friends?
from your
Oh,
friends,
that's an
right?
interesting idea.
And so I begged my boss at the time, who was like a programmer, and we actually started working on it and stuff. And so he's like, yeah, it's super easy. You can just like pull all the profile pictures, just basically scrape that data from Facebook, and then turn it into cards. And each card would have a different type, and it was like a rock paper scissors system. And the combat was like timing based, and it was kind of based on like the Judgment Ring from Shadow
Okay,
Hearts.
yeah.
And we actually got like a prototype up and running, and it was like pulling profile pictures and stuff.
That's
and I
cool.
remember it was like, oh, I wanted to call it Face Deck. And then it turns out you couldn't release any game on Facebook with the word face in it, which is a weird rule because people would assume that it's official.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Like officially associated with Facebook.
You had to call it Book Deck?
Yeah, so I made Book Deck. No, and then just kind of sat there forever. But I still think I think that would still work. Like, oh, I recruited Ben Reeves. He's my new card. He's a legendary.
Here's
or
this one
something.
invasive fact about them.
Yeah, exactly. Like the security stuff.
I think
It's a little.
with the push, like back then it was anybody's game, but with permissions, nobody's going to be like, yeah, I accept all this.
But you don't need that.
So
All
it's
you need
just-
is the pictures, which is already public.
that is,
And the
okay.
name, which is also already public. Republic.
Would it be like a Monster Rancher thing where depending on their likes and interests, that would determine their stats of, hey, this person who's really into all these, who's really engaged on Facebook has a really powerful
I think like the
strength or
older
something.
friend they are on Facebook, I think they would generally be higher stats, right?
Oh.
Wouldn't that be
And you
fun?
can just use like face matching to like place their faces onto nude pictures, right? Like you wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
You wouldn't have to.
You have
Yeah,
a little
you
mini
those
map on
photos.
the side of your screen that just
Right.
says
Yeah, have you guys played
pornography on
Face Deck?
You guys played StarCraft?
I was in the early access.
Very early.
Yeah.
Anyways, Tony from Syracuse, New York says, "Hello, Ben and guests. Tony from Syracuse here. Don't
Hey.
pronounce it wrong. I have a game for you. It's inspired by a little dialogue that occurred on the podcast last week where Dan Tack asked Ben to name 2 characters from Avatar as a sign of the movie's lack of quality. I thought that argument was silly. I
It
agree.
wasn't a lack of quality.
That's
it was.
what he says.
Oh my
That's what
God.
this
All right.
guy
All
says.
right.
That's how the people heard it, Dan.
All right.
Ready? Here are 20 games that are on the top 300 games list.
Okay.
Specifically, the top 100 of the top 300 list.
Okay.
High quality games that no one could argue with. Name 2 characters from each game.
Okay.
Also, it'll start easy
Are
to
these
lull you
games
into
that
a false
have
sense
like
of
actual
security.
characters?
You know
though?
they're gonna pick
It's not
like ones that
Tetris.
have like.
Here we go. Name 2 characters,
Okay.
hot shots. Super Mario Brothers 3
Mario and
Luigi.
Luigi.
and Luigi, correct. Mass Effect 2.
Shepherd and Lady Shepherd.
Fem Shepherd Garrus.
It's not wrong.
Garrus. Okay, there we go. Assassin's Creed 2.
Oh, interesting.
Ezio Auditore
Dormammu.
I got that one.
and
No, come on.
Ezio and what's the
Miles
Desmond?
Desmond.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. I saw Leo's hands on the booth fly up. He's ready to freak out.
Leonardo da Vinci.
Wait,
Bi-
who's? Oh, yeah, Leonardo.
Bioshock.
Atlas.
Big
Andrew
Daddy.
Ryan.
Andrew Ryan. And Frank Fontaine.
Great. Okay. Only human characters.
What?
No. For this next
Animal
one.
Crossing.
Pokemon Gold and Silver.
Only human character. Red
Okay.
and
Blue.
It's gold and silver.
Well,
Silver?
but technically,
Yeah,
whatever your
technically, yes.
your rival.
Was Professor Oak in that? Who's the professor?
No, Professor L.
Professor.
I think it is Elm.
It is. It's Elm, right?
Yeah.
I think
Misty's in it.
Giovanni.
Okay. Sure. Great. Not bad.
Pikachu human form.
they're gonna get harder
All right.
though.
League of Legends.
Oh, easy. Tristana and
Ash.
yeah, that'll work.
Can anybody in the world fact check that? Anybody? No. Oh, you play League?
Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank. Shut up. Now
Annie?
you're pulling my little
Annie? No,
Blitzcrank.
Blitzcrank's. I mean,
Leo Google it.
we can do a lot of 10 characters.
Now
if
you
want.
say there's a character named Leo. Google it.
Snarf.
Yeah,
Snarf is not a character.
Okay, here we go. 2 characters in Bloodborne.
Eileen the Crow and
Father Gascoigne.
Mikolash.
Okay, not bad. Fallout 1.
The
Fallout 1.
One.
Can anybody do it?
If we fail this test, is the game removed from the top 300?
Yes, I think that's the way
I
it
knew.
works.
I knew it was going to be
Sorry.
some legacy title like that.
Okay. Can anybody name 1 character from Fallout 1?
I've never played Fallout.
Me neither. No one on planet Earth. Fallout 3.
That's cheating.
Your dad.
Liam Neeson.
Yeah, Liam.
Come on, for real. You can't say your dad. Named characters.
Robbie the Robot. What was his name?
Is that 4?
Oh god, the butler character.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Look, some people in the office would be able to,
Sure.
but this is a specific crew here.
might be able to,
All right,
yeah.
here we go. Final Fantasy 7.
Do we-
Just
Cloud.
kidding. He says Final Fantasy 6.
Okay.
Oh, I'm
Wait,
sure.
are you just kidding?
Just kidding.
Tara?
He
Oh,
wait,
says
just.
Final Fantasy Tactics.
Oh my
Ooh.
gosh.
I haven't played it, so.
Oh God, and I have played tons
Well,
of it. but
Cloud's in that.
Okay.
That's true.
Well, he is. Isn't he?
And
What's the guy's name? Ramza.
Ramza, yeah.
Rams.
He's-
All right.
He's the man.
Good job.
Bad guy.
Deus Ex.
It's not
Which
a real
one?
game.
I haven't played.
First Deus Ex.
Okay, I haven't played it.
Adam Jensen.
Adam Jansen. Yeah. The two brothers.
Can anybody name a single Deus Ex
can't.
character? Leo, you're welcome to jump in at any point as well. Oh boy. Baldur's Gate 2.
Minsk.
Balder.
Minsk and Boo.
Is
There
that
you go.
true?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
Nice.
so.
Well done, man. GTA Vice City.
Vice City. Tommy Vercetti.
All right. Good.
You took
Who's the lawyer?
Joe Pesci.
Joe Pesci. Jr.
Come on. Can anybody,
Joe Pesci.
or do we got one more than that?
I don't remember.
Oh my
Yes.
God. We got a bunch of fake ass gamer boys here. Is that what's going on?
There you go, buddy.
Battlefield Bad Company 2. he says, the one known for its memorable characters.
Yeah, so memorable.
It's true.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I could do it.
I can't
I couldn't at all, but
Did I play that game?
I didn't play
remember. I honestly
okay.
don't remember.
Okay, here we go. For real though. One of the greatest games of all time, I'd argue. XCOM Enemy Unknown.
What?
Two characters.
Does that game really have characters?
Yeah,
That's you're making.
Yeah.
You're naming them
Commander.
yourselves though.
we could say, right?
Commander.
Sure.
We have to be able to count that.
Yeah. And
Grunt
then,
number 3.
No, come on. There's-
Fenman.
There's got to be some like intel person who's
There-
basically
yeah.
guiding you through the game.
Yeah, there's
right?
the scientist, the old scientist guy. Was he in 2? Was he in 1? Does anybody recall?
Gary.
I mean, that's just not a
No.
That's just not a game where I think about the characters
It's
being an
certainly not.
integral part of why
I know.
they're good.
I know.
I don't
but
think it's
still,
that sad.
still a
Whereas,
long
I mean,
time
if you
playing
want to take it back, like Avatar having interesting characters that you remember feels like a crucial component to
Yeah.
it, more so than me remembering the name of anyone in XCOM.
I agree. Okay, Deus Ex. So the main character is it?
I've never
Is
played-
it Deacon? Is it?
Deacon St. John.
It's something like Deacon.
St. John.
You might be right.
Deacon St. John.
Ugh. Okay, Bully.
Kevin.
Shut up. Kevin's back.
There it is.
What was that kid's name? Wasn't it like?
I've never played it.
Bully the Kid.
It's good.
That's good.
All right, Dan.
Yeah, what?
Secret of Mana.
Oh, all right. Undine
Undine.
and Gnome.
Wait, Gnome is name of a character?
Yeah.
Wow.
He's one of the elemental god dudes.
Does anybody stand a chance with System Shock 2?
Get JV
No.
down here.
Yeah, where's JV?
And I bet he couldn't even
Oh,
get
Well,
it.
Shodan.
Shodan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, you ready for this? Skyrim.
Oh my gosh.
Who's the stupid
Tyrion
jester?
Lannister.
No.
Dumb jester guy that followed me around.
No.
I don't know.
Who was the dragon? He had
Oh
a
my
name. He was like the
God.
Merovingian or something like that. That was his name.
Really?
No. That's from the Matrix.
That's from the Matrix
but
too.
It was something like that.
Hang on. We're not going to leave this room until we can name at
Okay.
least one character from
Dragonborn.
the greatest RPG of all time, according to
Dragonborn?
Game Informer. Dragonborn does not count. That's like a nickname.
It's a character.
But who's like the old timer? Remember he's played by Max von Sydow? He's like, you truly are the Dragonborn. I'll be dying over here soon.
Kenneth Branagh.
We know
Yeah.
I just don't think we're the
the Dark Brotherhood.
Like, I'm sure if you brought in Joe or Reiner, they'd be able to.
Maybe.
No.
I don't know.
Yeah,
like
I bet they could.
But
Yeah, you're
people
probably
didn't
right.
play that
we
game
have
for
not
its
put as
story.
much hours in. Yeah, exactly. That's why it's a tough one.
This is upsetting.
We should know like the two,
I-
at least the
I-
two faction heads, right? But we don't.
I think
So.
getting this small of a cross section of the entire staff.
You're right. Look, you can't
Well,
hold us to
true.
this. I'm still embarrassed, including myself in
I
this
can, I can
batch.
live with it. I'm hitting my games.
Okay. All right.
Okay.
You're
Yeah.
hitting your good.
Okay.
XCOM, though. Is it Kelly? Sorry.
Oh.
Alien. Fodder. There are
You
two
probably
people in
remember
that
the
game.
names of the aliens better.
35%
Yeah.
chance to hit.
Yeah,
That's
that's my favorite character.
Jesus. I never saw that character. Because I'm so good at those random numbers. Okay, what do you guys like for email of the week?
Now, that one was pretty good.
Last
but
one's
I
pretty
love it.
I also really liked the game design question. That was interesting.
Oh,
fun
yeah?
The
Okay.
one about developers and like who's.
The console developer discussions?
Well, have you ever asked a developer something? and you got,
Oh,
like, a
and you got more than
crazier
you
answer?
expected?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I feel like we always give it to the game, although the game
but
was
the
good.
game's the bet. It's the
game
highlight of
was
the show
good.
for me, you know?
I know, but then
And if we're encouraging more
is
games,
the game always going to win? All right, fine. All right.
there's
The game
what's
was
wrong
good.
with
The game was
that?
good.
It's the highlight of the email section, right?
I think we needed to pick a better cross section though, because we had like very specialized.
Well, when it comes to the end of the year, you're just going to be playing multiple games.
Wow. That could
anyway,
be-
yeah, okay.
Cyril, you cool with this?
I'm cool with it.
I'm fine with the game.
Okay, great. That's Tony from Syracuse, New York. Congratulations, New York. Put you up there. Oh, I think New York might already be up
On the
there.
big board.
Hey, let's find out, man. Congratulations. As for now, we're going to talk to our wonderful group of interns all about what it's like working with Ben Reeves and Jeff Cork. And also, they pitch some games that they desperately want to make.
Ooh.
Like their dream games.
I like this.
Fun little critiquing session. So stay tuned for a wonderful chat with our interns. It's actually a good chat. It's fun.
Huh?
Here it is. and welcome back to the Informer Show. I'm still here, now joined by our wonderful intern crew. Give yourselves a hand before we even introduce each other.
right.
Look at this. We have, and this is a real name, Hunter Wolfe.
Hi.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Do people make fun of your name a lot?
No, actually, it helps me out. People remember my name. And instead of saying, oh, hi, I'm Hunter, I'll introduce myself as, hi, Hunter Wolfe.
But you're not like an imposing guy. Like, don't you ever wish that you were just big and scary, and with that name, you could become like a bounty hunter or something?
I mean, I have that thought every day, Ben.
Okay,
Yep.
perfect. I'm really counting on that. We also have Jay Guisao.
Oh my goodness, you legend!
Yes,
wow,
thank you
great
so
job.
much. Thank you so much. I have it
Fantastic.
written down phonetically. Welcome to the show. And Nathan
Thank you.
Anstadt.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Let's see. You guys have appeared in some things here and there. You might recognize Hunter from the spoiled discussion for Kingdom Hearts 3. And then then the rest of you guys were on the Borderlands 3
yeah.
recap thing. That thing did pretty well.
Thank you.
Did you read comments on that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay. Anything striking?
People don't like when you say bad things about Tiny Tina.
Yeah, they don't. They don't. I wanted to defend her, but I was scared, so I did
you
not.
should have. They
I
would have
should
got- they would have had your
I
back.
should have defended her. They would have.
Just a good blanket policy is just defend everything on the internet, unless it's like, yay, there's certain hot spots, but just be nice and positive about everything.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know,
It's not
don't-
my shtick.
Don't tear things down. I know.
I don't have opinions on Twitter.
Yes, exactly. Is it too much to ask? How long have you guys been here now for the internship?
3 months.
3 months.
Sir,
How has it been so far?
Very good.
Yeah, it's been a ton of fun. I mean, it's like it's new for me because
Yeah.
I wasn't sure that I wanted to be a part of games journalism. I had like no experience with it.
And now you know you don't want to be a part of it.
There you go, right? No, it's been cool. It's been a lot of fun. It's been a lot of work, but it's been good, like educational stuff.
Okay.
So,
You
yeah.
thought you wanted to stick in the romantic poetry game for the rest of your life, which is kind of your jam, I hear?
Yeah, I'm like a romantic poetry guy. Yeah, word gets around.
When you call yourself a romantic poet, it sounds like you're saying you're from 1621, so it's very confusing.
Yeah,
He is.
it can be confusing. Yeah, I am. There you go.
It's
I
an
am.
immortal lord. Did you have an epiphany about games journalism, yay or nay, throughout the course of the whole internship?
Yeah, I really like it. I mean, like originally the plan was to write games, not necessarily write about games. So I still
okay.
want to write games, but I figure if I learn how to write about them, that'll help me learn how to write them. So
Okay, or at least fund
yeah,
your way
there
towards
we go.
writing
Yeah,
them. Okay.
that's the secret.
The most romantic games around.
Yeah,
Think
for
this is
sure.
going to help us fund anything?
Great question. Nathan, what have you thought of the internship so far?
I loved it. It was a super weird time to come to Minnesota.
Oh, the winter?
Yeah, not only the winter, but apparently one of the coldest winters in decades.
It sucked. I think we probably talked about it on the podcast, but yeah, there's the polar vortex or whatever. It was like
Yeah.
27 below. No one's cars were starting.
So we really had to prove that we wanted to be here.
Yeah.
Yes, it's insane.
But it was super fun. I love it.
Here's a weird quirk, not with you, but with Jay. And I'll call it a quirk, but it's you just being friendly. Is you say "get home safe" a lot
I do.
as like your sayonara, as most people say here in
Yeah.
Minnesota.
Yeah.
Except I noticed I was tracking it very carefully. You said it sometimes multiple times per day, except on the days where there was like a genuine blizzard outside. I was like, I think we were the last two here on some blizzard day, and I was heading home. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get the juiciest get home safe of all time. You did say it on the only day where I could have actually died on my way home, and I was very disappointed with your work.
That was the plan. This is my podcast.
Successfully reading between the lines.
Hunter, what have you thought of this whole experience so far?
Oh, I've been stressing trying to come up with a haiku for you
Why
to
the
describe
haikus? What is this? Why are you doing this?
It has been so great. No, I won't do that to you. I've loved like every second being here. I'm still young, haven't had a lot of career experience, but I've worked a lot of jobs that felt like jobs, and the writing about games is not easy and it's challenging,
Yeah.
but it's not one time felt like work, and so that was kind of one really eye-opening thing for me.
Okay.
Being able to do this full time. So
Oh, that's nice to hear, I
Yeah.
guess. That's very, very sweet. And you're actually staying in Minneapolis?
I am.
That's
yeah.
crazy. You're not
I'm
from
moving
here.
tomorrow. Woo.
What, you changed your whole life because of this? Maybe you'll only last in Minneapolis for like another year. Who knows? But why decide to stay here?
I mean, I'm from a really small town in rural Pennsylvania, so there's not like I know exactly what life would be like if I went back to rural Pennsylvania. And this city is so much fun. And you guys keep talking about how bad your weather is, but like it's nothing compared to what our winters in Pennsylvania.
What? You're saying Minnesota winters are lighter than Pennsylvanian winters?
They are not as cold. However, it's like 4 months of just gray. You guys get so much sunshine here.
Oh, that's an interesting twist. Never thought about that.
Yeah.
Hunter, I will forever feel bad because I was walking you guys through like video backends and analytics and just like the video process here at Game Informer a while back. And I was showing you like, okay, here's like the key search terms that people use to find a Red Dead 2 spoiled, like big spoiler
Thanks for
discussion.
this. Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about it. Like, oh yeah, here's, traffic sources in the back end of YouTube. And it was just a list of the biggest spoilers in Red Dead 2, which you had not finished at that point. And I felt
played.
so
Yeah.
terrible.
Yep.
Were you going to?
Oh, heck yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting to get my housewarming 4K TV present to myself when I get my apartment.
Okay.
But now the first game I play is not going to be Red Dead
No!
Redemption 2.
It's still so good. That game was completely spoiled for
So
me,
good.
and I will still defend it. Yeah, Jay, you know all about it. You wrote a whole video essay about
I
it.
did. Oh my
Very
god.
snazzy.
Yeah, it's so exciting.
Have you played through the game multiple times at this point?
I have not played through it multiple times, but what I have done is I have 100%ed it, which is
That's
actually an
crazy.
insane thing to do.
What's the most challenging aspect of that?
Oh my gosh, probably the challenges they make you do, like the bandit challenges and all that kind of stuff, because I
Yeah.
had like a high honor meter when I got to the end of the game. And to do those challenges, I would have to like rob like 5 trains. So now I'm super evil. So when I go back and play those missions, the really cool moments where you're a kind Arthur are
Right.
no longer there. They're all evil. And so that's unfortunate. But
So do you have to like work extra hard then to try and get that meter back up after, or you just
I
let
mean,
it go?
The only thing you can do is say hi to 3 people every day. And then it's slowly...
I like the idea of
rises.
Arthur's like, I'm going to be a good man now. I'm going to say hi to 3 people now. So he's just like really up in his head about this. Like, that's 1.
Yeah,
If only there was an option for him to say, get home safe.
Would have been the greatest game of all time.
yeah, exactly.
Jay, what's also confusing to me is that you're from New York, right?
Yes.
But when we ordered pizza one time, you insisted on getting the worst deep dish pizza on planet Earth.
And you guys, all right, look.
You
look it.
insisted. You said, I will not eat a pizza unless it's gross and deep dish.
Double cheese.
That's exactly
Or
what
my
I
name
announced.
isn't J. New York Guisao.
Oh my, you got to write a second.
Thank you.
Man, you're getting brownie
I was
points,
waiting.
dude. No, I mean, I love pizza. Pizza is New York. I'm pretty boring with what I get on it.
Okay.
I always get the extra
Which is
cheese
nothing.
and pepper. Man,
Yeah.
disrespectful.
Cheese
You
and
hear this
pepperoni,
guy?
solid.
Disrespecting pizza.
Yeah.
Look,
what?
I argue people are too much of a snob. Pepperoni, there's a reason it's climbed the ranks. It's at the top of the stack.
Exactly. Seriously. We have
There's
like
a reason that no one ever gets deep dish pizza because it's at the bottom of the stack.
I'd never had deep dish, so I wanted to try
I
it.
hadn't either.
with-
That was the first for
Really?
both of us.
Yeah, so I wanted to try it with what I normally get, and now I know, but I will still defend it because I have a lot of pride.
It's still, I mean, it's better than 90% of food on planet Earth. But in terms of pizza, it's too much.
yeah,
It's
I
too much.
realize that now.
Okay.
I was pretty nasty.
Hey, let me
eating it.
see. Yeah, Chicago, I don't think is God's country at this point on the big board. So F it. It's gotta go. Nathan, you're a hero for the Game Informer community because
right.
of the God Hand Super Replay.
Yeah. I played through, half of that game?
So, Leo in the booth, maybe you can help me out. What happened with God Hand, the Super Replay that never seems to end?
So the PS3 got turned off wrong, like it does 90% of the time, but this time it got corrupted and we lost all the saves we had on it, which is like a decade of saves, including the Super Replay we were doing,
2 super replays, actually.
That's
which is
very
actually
confusing.
2 Super Replays, God Hand and Asura's Wrath. We're doing 2 in 1.
And how many hours of God Hand was that?
I mean, it was probably like 5 or 6 hours.
And were you trying to
really.
like recreate exactly what Joe had done in the main game?
Yeah, so Leo sent me kind of where they stopped
Yeah.
and all the different abilities they had. So I was just tailoring all that stuff and trying not to spend any extra money.
That sucks. It must have sucked. Like Hunter's saying that there's never a dull moment, but that must have been pretty dull playing this whole PS2 game.
I was kind of excited, like when I think Reeves came down initially and was like, "Hey, so this terrible thing happened," and it's like, "Oh, crazy! Like, how are you guys gonna solve this problem?" It's like, "That's so funny. You should ask."
Oh no!
It's like one of you guys should for sure do that.
The interns.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
You could have said no.
No, but I was excited because Because when else am I gonna play? When else am I gonna play God Hand?
No one will. Look, my grandma's not on her deathbed saying, "When will I play God Hand?"
I don't
A lot
know.
of people
I
just
don't know.
don't.
Because I'm doing it for her.
You did just play Shenmue, so that
I
doesn't seem
did.
out of character
Yeah.
for you.
I did just play. I platinumed Shenmue as well.
Wait, Shenmue.
Did I say
Shenmue.
that?
Is it
incorrectly?
Shenmue? Am I gonna
must be
get?
Mu.
Am I gonna get
Shenmue.
like mean
Yes.
comments now?
Yeah, I think it's a very J.V. Gwaltney pronunciation, Shenmue. I mean, I guess I don't know how to say that word, but
Me
maybe the
neither.
entire world is
They don't
wrong.
say it in the
I
game,
think
so
it is Shenmue, but it reminds me of how you say home.
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 Get
I went home
home
this
safe.
weekend.
Home safe.
Home.
Pardon me.
So we're talking about different things that we can cover on this segment of the podcast, and the idea bubbled up of what if we pitch some games? Because I always love when people are into podcastinginform.com with like, I've wanted to make this game my entire life, and then we can just tear it to shreds. We can be a couple of hungry wolves just at the pack, ready to tear it apart. In a positive way, of course.
Yes.
And so Hunter's like, I have some games that I think would be fun to pitch conceptually.
Yes.
And so we all kind of have some to go around the table and pitch our dream games. Is that the way we're framing this?
sure.
Okay. All right. Hunter, do you want to go first with your dream game of choice? If you
Sure,
could
of course.
make anything happen in the game industry.
It would be a VR Tomb Raider experience, core entry to the series.
Okay.
Okay,
All right,
I
this
just
is-
think
all right.
it's. I know we're off to a great start.
Actually,
I
I'm
think
seeing negative sales in my head right now. It's unbelievable.
Red lines.
so. Hear me out.
Laura
First
Croft
person.
jumping off a cliff.
That would make you sick.
You're right.
In VR, yeah.
Right.
No swan diving in my VR dream game.
Okay, so why are you combining these two mediocre things together?
Because it's so atmospheric.
Oh my goodness.
It's so atmospheric. Like the Tomb Raider series has always been about exploration and atmosphere, and VR is like this amazing platform that's suited for that. So
But they've made VR experiences within
they
Tomb
did,
Raider.
and I don't think it was very good.
But-
I didn't play it.
Okay, but you were describing it yesterday. What was it again? How does
It
work?
was the Croft Manor DLC for Rise of the Tomb Raider. So it was like DLC that you could play in the main game, and then later they're like, oh yeah, and you can do this in VR now too. And it was just like kind of wonky. It didn't work the same.
As a big fan of Tomb Raider 2, I'm sorry that I didn't pay more attention to that, because the idea of like looking at that old house that I explored so much in Tomb Raider 2 in VR, is, all right. I would do that if I had a free offer to do it. I wouldn't spend hundreds of dollars on VR
no.
so I could look at this manor. Okay, so you want like basically Astrobot, but it's Lara Croft.
Yeah, I think that'd be so cool. And you can like have I envision like Uncharted, you have a book with like clues and stuff. You could like look down in VR and like look
All
at
right.
your book to solve puzzles.
All right, the book sounds good.
Yeah.
The book's defendable.
Are you Lara Croft or are you someone else and then you can interact with Lara Croft?
Why, that's a great question.
Thank you very much.
You are actually Lara Croft and Lara Croft's daughter. Plot twist. I don't
Wait.
know if I'm looking at the right
Has she
kid.
ever had a kid?
No, but I
Has she ever
think,
talked about it?
I think it would.
She talked about having kids.
No, she's like never had a love interest, and when she has, they've always like died off. So
What about the dude she's always with?
Jonah?
I like Jonah.
they're just platonic friends.
He was hitting on that girl in the other one, right? In Shadow.
Oh,
Wait.
really?
Who?
No one on
Oh
Earth has
yeah,
ever played that game.
Abby.
Yeah, right.
that's
There
right.
you go. Exactly.
No, they like go on a vacation at the end of the games. I don't know if it's at the end of the game or the DLC, but it's like, oh yeah, Jonah and his new Peruvian girlfriend go off on a vacation together.
Look,
Hang
like
on.
Daniel Craig
Yeah,
from
did-
the movies.
Did you play the old games too?
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Really? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still shocked by this. It's kind of a interesting idea that like Lara Croft, like this sex symbol from day one, has never had a love interest in the games.
In the games, no. In the comic books, yes.
Oh my god. Okay,
Yes.
you're diving deep.
Mhm. Oh yeah,
And
I've
how-
read them all.
Okay, and how did those end?
He dies, and then he comes like he comes back to life, and you're not sure. Like the comic isn't clear if he's like actually real or if he's a doppelganger.
Uh-huh.
But then he ends up being a doppelganger.
Okay, that sounds fun.
Yeah.
That's my greatest
Is this
fear.
connected, your love of Lara Croft and Tomb Raider, is it connected to the fact that you interviewed former Game Informer editor and now Crystal Dynamics employee and Tomb Raider connoisseur Megan Marie at some point?
That was actually Tomb Raider was how I met Megan. Like, oh my gosh, way back when. I mean, I was in high school. She helped me with my senior project in high school. I did it on like career opportunities in the games industry, so she hooked me up with
Wow.
some interviews. But no, I love Tomb Raider like way before that. So
Did you talk about Tomb Raider with Megan?
oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay. Oh,
Yeah,
good.
it's she actually helped with the Croft Manor DLC. There were a lot of throwbacks from fans, and she had created a list for the developers of like what fans would appreciate as throwbacks in the DLC. So we like geeked out one afternoon about like all the things that she's like, oh, did you see this? Yeah, we got that in there. Like, oh, I love that.
Do they have the butler in there, by the way? Do you know?
The butler is not in. He is, but he's like not there. He's not present. He's in the lore in the house, but you don't see him.
He's trapped in the walls? What is that?
The lore room. You just can't get in the lore room.
Yeah,
You just hear his feet.
the shuffle, the shuffle of the tea plate.
Oh, he really wants you to drink that tea. All right, let's see. Should this game happen? Yay or nay?
Tomb Raider VR?
Yes.
Why not?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't say why not to everything.
Nay.
I said
Nay.
you're
Okay,
investing.
then
You're investing
are we-
$100 million of your own money on this.
We're saying like, would I, or at least would I play this?
You're investing $100 million.
Oh no. If I'm expecting a return on that, then
Okay, let's
no.
make it reasonable. Let's say for everything, these are all $20 million projects.
Okay.
Okay, so $20 million.
Wow, yeah.
I like that budget. I can work with that.
It's not going to your house.
Then yay.
You think you're going to make $20 million back on a Tomb Raider VR game?
It'll be the killer app, man. It's gonna be the Farmville.
An app that killed.
for VR.
I think I'll make it back when Game Informer does replays of it.
Oh, it makes fun of it.
years later. Sure.
Okay.
I think
hater.
I think you have a
Hater.
chance. I think you have a chance. Originally, I was nay, but $20 million. That's the budget for it.
Yeah,
for
actually,
creating it.
we got a lot of feedback from the creators of God Hand that sales are through the roof since that broken Super
Are
Replay.
you serious?
No, of course not.
I was about to say, unbelievable. But no, but yeah, I think
You approve?
I approve. I think with
Okay.
that budget, you can make a good VR
Great.
experience.
I'll remember that when you share your dream game, Jay.
Thank you. That's why I'm
I didn't
being
know.
nice.
And Jay, what is the dream game?
Oh man, I went all out, but I'm gonna try to do like just
You
a
have
tiny
pages and
percent.
pages of notes.
Exactly.
It's like a full script
Exactly.
you're
Is that
going to
what
hand
this
out.
It's serious. I got my developer. I got the composers for the scores in here. Look, I'm ready.
gosh.
But this
I guess
it's
should-
gonna be simple, man. I think you two will like this. So I
Okay.
have
Great.
a.
Oh no, not me.
I mean, I don't
You'll
know.
hate it.
I don't know
I'm
yet.
gonna be a
Maybe you'll
hater.
like it. Maybe you'll like it. But I think if I can get SquareSoft, like before they became Square Enix, right?
Wait, so go back in
Very
time?
specific.
So go back in time. Yeah, very specific.
So
like,
step one, build the time machine. That's going to
Exactly.
eat your $20 million budget.
Pre Final Fantasy X.
Right.
Exactly. So if I can get like Yoshinori Kitase, and Hiroyuki Ito, who made like the best Final Fantasies, like
Okay.
7, 6, 9.
Wait, what's the second name?
Hiroyuki Ito, he worked with Kitase on 6,
Oh, okay.
and he was a big part of 9 and 12 as well.
Oh, okay,
Just
okay.
like their best-selling games, the ones that won all the awards. If they could come together and help me make a JRPG
Right.
first person
JRPG.
Yeah,
game.
very good. Nathan,
Okay.
this is why you get the big bucks. I'm sorry, repeat. I was too focused on JRPG. All right, go on.
A
sir.
JRPG first person perspective game where
On the PS1.
no.
Okay.
No, on
you're-
modern
So you're bringing
consoles.
them with you forward through time.
Yes, like
and they'll
if
be
I
like
can-
screaming like, "What's happened?"
If I can just bring all of them, right? If I can just bring that whole squad that makes those
Right,
original games, if
right.
I could bring them and they could make this game with like a cyberpunk feel to it, like
okay.
Does your $20 million budget include the cost of teaching them Unreal Engine 4?
man, I'm sure they can make it work.
and
you know
modern
what?
system architecture.
Yeah.
You know what? Why don't we go with old graphics for it?
Okay.
Let's go with
throwback.
PS1 graphics.
Sure.
For
First person PS1. You're okay. We're doing it.
This
No,
is an
but it's
exclusive
good.
for the
So
PS Classic.
It could be really
for
good
fun.
though.
Wait, a first person cyberpunk RPG?
Like a
Like
first
Cyberpunk
person
2077?
Yeah, like we're exploring like that first person exploration kind of feels like a Cyberpunk 2077
Yeah.
kind of experience. And you know, like there's like really cool like wastelands you can explore and like big metropolises and stuff. And I mean, if it could be like, you know, scored by like Nobuo Uematsu.
Oh,
who
deep
obviously-
cut.
Yeah, I'm doing all Square.
Didn't he just retire?
Enix. Did he?
He'd come back.
I
His
think he's coming
schedule
back
is
for the
free now.
remake. He's
Yeah.
coming back for the 7 remake.
Yeah,
I
he said
think.
that at a concert, I think, or something like that.
Yeah.
That he's still going to be involved.
Yeah.
He's gonna
So
do- oh, that's interesting. The tech is still up in the air. So
Mm-hmm.
you want it to be this huge open world thing.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, you want SquareSoft to make Cyberpunk 2077.
Yes, I mean like
For the PlayStation Classic.
There'd be like other things in it. Like I would try to be weird and like throw in like turn-based combat somehow in a first-person perspective.
Okay.
Like turn-based / real-time. Like
Little
I'm thinking,
Dragon Quest.
Yeah, like I'm thinking like 12. I'm thinking like Final Fantasy 12. I've been writing a lot about Final Fantasy 12, and I really like the
in
combat
first
system.
person.
Yeah, like it would be really weird
Do you still
and
have that
different.
gross arcing beam going to all the enemies?
Yeah, I guess so.
I
You
don't
know who
understand
you're
the gross
targeting.
part,
Yeah.
but otherwise,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
I like it. Do you consider Final Fantasy VII steampunk? Or sorry, cyberpunk? I guess it's a little of both.
I think it's a little bit of both. Like I kind of like, it's funny that you mentioned 7. I was thinking about 7 with like the time period of the game where it's like kind of modern / futury a bit. And I feel like 7 talked a bit about like taking care of the planet and like.
Oh yeah,
like
that's all they talked about. Yeah,
that, like,
we gotta blow the whole city up to take care of the planet.
Yeah, literally the first thing
whole
Barrett
thing.
says, it's sucking the life out of the planet, man. Like, yeah, so.
And his hand shakes like this.
that doesn't stop.
Did you watch Final Fantasy on their YouTube channel posted like this kind of dev diary thing looking back on Final Fantasy 7, and it has Katase, it has Naora, who we talked to on the 15 cover story trips. It was fun to see him talk about it. But it's fun to hear them reflect about like the very origins of the game, which I had never really heard before. Which it was Katase said that I don't know if it was Nomura or Sakaguchi, maybe Sakaguchi drew like the first sketch or like the first inspiration, and they said that it was a detective in a brightly lit city in the rain. That was like the starting image for all of Final Fantasy 7.
Oh, interesting.
And then at a certain point, Blade Runner was brought up with Naora, who was just on the art team. It wasn't like the lead artist for the entire project. But he's like, yeah, people keep asking me if I was influenced by Blade Runner for 7. He's like, I saw that movie once and I don't remember any of it. So I don't think so. It's just fun to hear.
That's crazy.
It's a weird deal. Let's see. Greenlit. Just for the name Squaresoft appearing on the screen in the beginning. I think that's greenlit in a big bad way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would at least, even if I lost my money, it's worth seeing what this thing ends up being.
Yeah. What else are we going to spend our money
Thanks.
on? Hunter.
Thank you.
No.
Wow.
Wow.
Cold.
The tables have turned.
Wow.
Thank God.
Wait, didn't he fund
I just
the thing?
think that your budget isn't realistic enough for what you're trying to achieve.
What?
Yeah.
How so?
For a
This is very
first person turn based, that's like new stuff.
It's impossible.
Every
We're not there
turn
yet.
is at least like $1 million to produce. Also, I love that your two choices are like the best of Square and the worst of Square competing, tearing each other
The
apart.
worst of Square.
I mean, I like the first two Tomb Raider games. Yeah.
I just think it's funny.
Nathan, give us your huge pitch.
Huge pitch.
Yeah.
All right. Are you familiar with Pokemon?
Pokemon, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Great. I would like them to make a Pokemon game, but I would like that Pokemon game to be in like 3D, like a big open world Skyrim type of situation. But like action combat. I don't want turn-based combat.
What is action? This is licensed Pokemon?
Like actual Pokemon.
Okay.
This is like Nintendo. Please feel free to do this. Exact thing.
Right. And action combat. What does that mean?
So like Skyrim style, like action RPG combat.
So you're like choosing which Pokemon to control directly.
Absolutely. So
You're not a trainer.
No, you are a trainer. So the way
Okay.
I envision it, like, I mean, you play as Pokemon trainer in like Smash Brothers, right?
Yeah.
And they just sit in the background and you play the Pokemon. They could function the same way. Like you have 4 face buttons and they have 4 attacks. Just you walk around and
Right.
put each of the attacks on a face button. Totally
You got
work.
to dodge.
Yeah, you got a second analog stick.
Okay.
Totally works.
Yeah.
And then you have like action combat, and then you can catch. I envision a world where you can like you start playing Skyrim and you come out and the whole fun is like I want to pick a direction and go in that direction.
Right.
And then I want to go in that direction. I want to climb a mountain and then like you find some like cool dragon Pokemon up there.
Yeah. Is it too much to
Dragonite?
ask?
Is it too much to ask? Is it too much to ask?
It is too much to ask because we literally asked them when we went to Game Freak about this exact thing. I don't know if you saw this video.
No, I don't know.
It'll crush your effing soul. Because at a certain point, I just wanted to talk with... This
is the worst thing I've ever heard.
Yes, with the director of Pokemon just about like, why not open things up? Why not take the Breath of the Wild approach? Let people go wherever they want. Make it more of an open world. Take the reins off them, as Jay said in his Red Dead video, which is stuck in my head. But he's like, I don't think that really works. He's like, that's kind of a Zelda thing. I don't think Pokemon would work in that free format. He's like, I don't get it. you need a sword to slash. What else would you do? Like, what would you do in the game?
If only there was a Pokemon that was literally a sword.
Well, that exactly. But it's just his response of like, I don't understand what you do. It's like, what do you mean? You go
Doesn't he
around to the
design
effing
games?
gyms and you collect Pokemon. Like the core thing that we've been doing 1,000 times, except you've
What?
been holding our hands.
They should fire him.
Wait, I want to
His
know.
one job.
Get the hell out of here.
Are the Pokemon in this game, are they realistic looking like Detective Pikachu, or do they look like they do in the Game Freak games?
I see it as an in-between.
Okay.
The Detective Pikachu ones are like, they're great for what that is, like this freakishly realistic, like they look like real animals.
Yeah.
But that are some sort of monsters, right?
Uh-huh.
Pocket monsters, perhaps?
Correct.
But just like realistic, like just put it in Unreal, like a realistic 3D models of those cartoon graphics
Okay.
in like a big open world.
Yeah.
I think if you went for
Cell-shaded
the Detective
Sure.
Pikachu level of
be
like
cool.
animation, $20 million wouldn't work for you. So I appreciate that you're
Yeah, I
thinking
scale it
within a good
down.
scope.
Yeah, just like even if you do like the 3D models from like Pokken Tournament or something, like they look like good 3D models.
Yeah.
of those
Yeah, they do.
They're
Pokemon.
fine.
Yeah, and you could see them running around a fairly realistic looking Breath of the Wild style environment, and it would look fine. And then I could throw Pokeballs at them.
Just throw the Pokeballs. Here's the other problem with this: is one time I asked him about like, would you ever consider adding like timing elements to the battle system, a little bit like Paper Mario or like Mario and Luigi RPGs? And Masuda's like, no, because that like cuts off the certain part of the audience that isn't skilled enough to handle that. Like they need that mass audience of just like take your time, choose your attacks.
No, they
Basically-
don't. I'm so angry.
Isn't it frustrating? And when they released Pokemon on Switch this year, Sword and Shield, it's going to be that frustrating thing of like, this is almost exactly what I wanted, except
They announced that. So right before that, I had written a thing about what I wanted to see in the new Pokemon game, and it stopped a little short of this because that's like completely unrealistic.
right,
Um,
of course.
But even kind of what I asked for, like seeing that trailer is such a bummer because it looks like every Pokemon game I've played for 20 years.
Yeah, in the same way
Yeah.
Borderlands 3 looks like a carbon copy of Borderlands 2.
There are legs with guns there, whatever. vice
Legs
versa.
with guns?
my
Except by the
goodness.
third
You mean
Pokemon.
guns with legs?
I don't know
There's
what I
just
mean
some-
anymore.
Some legs
My
walking
legs-
around with fishnets, and they've got like Uzis on either
Yeah,
side.
I think that's actually a Planet Terror thing from Robert Rodriguez. But anyways,
yeah, good pull.
Thank you.
No, but by the third Pokemon game, it was still fine. Now I'm defending Borderlands. I don't need to do that. So what am I even talking
You're
about?
screaming
anymore?
at Game
I'm
Freak that they're
screaming
blowing
at Game
it.
Freak.
It is so frustrating. It's like I understand the team's not that big. They're not exactly a tech powerhouse, but it's like there are so many teams out there that would kill a
my
living
gosh, yeah.
man to get to make an open world Pokemon game.
Literally.
I just
yeah.
like
Literally
it
kill
doesn't
a man.
It doesn't seem like they
Dead.
need like they could make Sword and Shield with a relatively small team,
Uh-huh.
and then just like get some guy who actually understands what's going on.
Yeah, what's with these guys that have been working with Pokemon for 20 years? Why don't they get some
He's-
Western guy that
he's
knows everything?
Me,
Yeah,
me.
exactly.
He's just too close to it. He can't see
I've
it.
played most of your games. I have a couple opinions.
I
Right
know.
this way, sir.
I know better
you
than
sound
you.
like Daenerys Targaryen right now.
Thank you.
And it's not.
Let
a
me
good
just
thing.
come
that's a
over
spoiler.
here. It's not a spoiler. Or is it?
She talks a lot.
I'm just
about
saying
Pokemon.
they could open it up. They could do both.
Yeah. Hey Nathan, you know what was a weird thing that you did during this intern term?
No,
I could name a few.
I was looking for.
please tell me.
It was the time I was looking
Oh,
for
God.
Hunter downstairs. He's
Yes?
like, hey, have you seen Hunter? And you're like, oh, I think he's in the bathroom. And she said,
Aw.
oh, could you please go get him for me, please? As a joke. And then I was starting to
Oh
walk
my gosh, I
upstairs
remember
and I
that.
saw Nathan walking towards the bathroom. I was like, where are you going, you psychopath? I was going to go get Hunter. I'm like, what do you mean?
I wasn't gonna go like pull his pants up. I was gonna go like knock on the door
No,
and just be like, "Hey."
That's an absurd invasion, just like banging on a stall. Like, Hanson kind of wanted to see you at
I
some
felt
point today.
rushed. I felt
didn't even-
rushed.
It was an attack. That is, the bathrooms are sacred. You do not go dragging people out of them.
Yeah, there is
gonna,
only
like,
one
stick my
stall in
hands
there
under
for a
the
reason.
stall and like, "Hey." She's gonna like knock
Just
on
point
the
to
door.
your watch under the stall. Come on, man. Hanson's gonna lose it over
Hanson was screaming at me. My direct boss, Ben Hansen.
Right. Yes, that's right. I made it very clear. I'm the one true boss. What do you guys? What did you learn about writing or whatever throughout the internship? What was the biggest lesson?
Oh, jeez.
That it's kind of hard.
Writing is hard,
but it's very fun.
It's hard.
What's hard about it?
Well, it's hard. It's just hard to reframe it because I've done it. I've written plenty before coming here, but mostly kind of on my own schedule.
Plenty like features.
Just like I've written.
Oh, okay.
I did reviews and stuff before
Sure.
I came here. But that was mostly on my own schedule, so it was like I can set aside time whenever I am not working to do this, and so it's just a different way to frame the work to have to come in and then produce that stuff.
Yeah.
In the 4 or 5 hours that we're here in the day. It's definitely not. It was never like overwhelmingly difficult, but it was a new experience that I had to learn.
And if you're going too slow, you just would get a knock on the bathroom stall or like.
Jeff Cork yells obscenities.
Yeah, because you guys mainly work with Cork and Reeves, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, hey, can we crank this up a little faster, a little faster, a little faster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until eventually it just got to the point where we're just banging on the keyboard trying to get something out the door.
Yeah, there's a room where they take us to beat us.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, that's nice. That's sweet. Okay, so speed. That was the big thing. Do you feel like it increased your feature and news writing speed by the end of the term?
Absolutely. I mean, a lot of it at the beginning was, I think, learning the different specific processes for Game Informer.
Yeah.
Writing with like on your back end and all these different things that you had to learn. And so I think I mentioned to you yesterday, I think, like now that we're about to leave in a couple days, I finally feel like I have come to terms with it enough that I could turn that stuff around really quickly.
Right.
Whereas leading up to it, it was a lot of this learning curve of like I could write this, but then figuring out how to get it out the door through whatever processes you guys have
Yeah.
is what stopped me a lot.
Were there some brutal edits along the way for everybody?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Reeves, yeah.
Reeves is the most brutal editor.
Oh my
I don't
god.
think I've
gosh,
ever
yeah.
heard anybody
Gosh.
say that, but
Are you serious?
I've never heard that about Reeves.
Glassy-eyed, like this is
Well, Reeves is
Yeah,
a
when
tough
you-
read, but
yeah.
I've never heard of that. Like,
I mean, when
really
you put
brutal.
something in front of him, it's like his eyes glaze over. He's like, "You're done, dude." It's like,
his eyes roll back.
He
They're like,
rises in his chair.
yeah.
they're doll's eyes.
Turn white, and he just starts going.
Really? Was it humbling or frustrating, or what's the emotion?
It's humbling. It's good.
Okay.
It's really good. I come from a creative writing background, hence romantic poet guy.
Right. He
but-
actually went back to your old romantic poetry as well and just gutted it.
Yeah, exactly.
This isn't good.
You didn't
It's
love
not
this
the same.
tomorrow.
You don't know anything about love.
No, but yeah, no. Yeah, no. He's really good. Like it is a extremely humbling experience. Like to send something that you're thinking, man, I killed this.
This is flawless.
Yeah, like you're gonna give it to him, and it's like, just skip second pass, just throw it a third, it's done. You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, nope. Like you have 2 more weeks to work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I
man.
think that's one thing that I learned as well is just how collaborative writing is, and how like that's such a good thing, because my pieces are always so much stronger when I have the input from other editors
Totally.
here, and you guys are all like have so much decades of experience between you all, and everyone looks at your pieces in different ways. So I always feel like my pieces are much stronger when I come out of edits.
For sure.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, it's that silly idea of like no idea is so good that it can't benefit from the
Yeah.
hive mind improving it. Like it happens all the time in video, especially like for Leo and I, like the video team is so small, so I think it's very easy, and especially like before anybody else, when I was like the only video guy here, it's like, all right, I'm just gonna make this thing and put it up.
Yeah.
And it's like over and over and over again. And then it turns out like throughout the course of the career, it's like, yeah, it always pays to just get like quick reactions,
Yeah.
So like just simple stuff like the rapid fire videos we edit now, like it's always nice to have like this kind of rough cut screening just to be like, oh, this joke that was the only reason I want to do this rapid fire, no one even smiled at. So like, all right, that's gone. All right, no problem. It always helps.
No,
Yeah.
totally. I just put up an Avengers thing, and there was a joke that I was really afraid was going to get cut out of it. And it was desperately, like the whole time I was like, man, if they cut this joke out, like I don't even want to write this.
What's the joke? Did it make it in?
I just made fun of Hawkeye and said he sucked.
That's the joke you wanted to get. Bold hot take.
Don't judge me.
Hard take. Hawkeye sucks.
I think I told you guys yesterday I tried to slip fetch into one of
Yes,
my
you did.
articles, and
Smart.
it got edited out, sadly.
I'm so sorry.
I know.
Look, the
It was
hive
a
mind
sad
has to
day.
have a voice. It's very frustrating. I heard you, Hunter. I'll speak on your behalf for what a good suggestion was, because I heard you talking to Miller one time a couple weeks ago or a month ago or whatever. I noticed because Miller was talking for about an hour and a half straight, because he's a very eloquent, informed man. But I heard him say, like, hey, when you're writing a preview, I wrote it down here. Try and write your preview like you're responding to the argument or point that
Yeah.
folks will be thinking of when they're reading it. And you said, quote, this is a Hunter quote, "That's very wise."
Sounds like a Hunter quote.
You said that? Fantastic.
Probably.
And Miller just nodded.
Yes, it is.
Put on his wizard hat and just nodded. Yeah.
Were there other good tips you guys got from writers along the way? Things that stood out to you?
Yeah, I was so much. That was one thing that that piece of advice in particular stood out to me because
Okay.
I really enjoy op-ed writing. And so when you're writing an op-ed, you benefit from thinking, well, what are the 3 biggest arguments someone who reads this are going to have against your piece?
Right.
And how can I address those in the piece before people get down to the comment section? So
Yes.
that was something I learned.
Okay, that's nice.
Yeah, I think it was like the conversations that I had with editors here. Like sometimes it wasn't like necessarily learning a new thing about the process. It was like you were saying, how like you get one extra person to take a look at it, and now it's this like sprawling conversation, and they've thrown amazing ideas out that you never even considered. I had that with Bertz for my Red Dead Online feature, because he played a lot of Red Dead Online, and
Yeah.
I mostly played the single player and then came to the online, and there were things that I was really shocked about that weren't in the online, but like I didn't have like the time that Bertz had with it. So when I sat down with him and said, these are some ideas that I was thinking about it, he was just like, yeah, but like I like those ideas, but here are like 5 branching ideas from those ideas. And I'm like, holy sh, this guy's amazing. Yeah. No, so
That's
it was
nice.
definitely the conversations.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
been one of the coolest parts about working at Game Informer is everyone here is so brilliant and has so many
No,
crazy
no.
ideas. There's
People
like,
listen to this podcast. They know that's not the case. But anyways, go on.
everyone but
actually,
you.
I reneged
you.
my
Yes,
my
you're welcome.
comment, my
Uh-huh.
previous comment. No one here is brilliant.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, they're okay.
No, everyone here has so many like creative ideas, and often a lot of the ideas for stories that I've written come from just random conversations about games with other editors in the office. So that's
Right.
been really cool.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
If you guys had to point people towards one feature that you wrote, what is it? You're allowed to do 2, I guess. But what are you most proud of? What should people check out? What should people Google?
Well, I already mentioned it. The Pokemon one.
Okay. So
What?
was it what we want?
Is what we want from Pokemon on Switch, which I still think is worthwhile because none of those things are in the Sword and Shield.
We'll re-promote it for the next 6 Pokemon reveals.
Yeah, because they'll never incorporate any of it.
Yes, exactly.
Otherwise, I wrote a thing on achievements. You should read that and then get angry about my opinions on achievements.
What are your opinions about achievements?
So the one that I foolishly read the comments on that one as well.
Unrolls the scroll.
Yeah, who's got time? The biggest one that people got angry with was that I think for this next Xbox, they should just go back to 0. Like
Go back to
like
0.
reset your achievements and start from scratch.
Oh,
I'm sure the comments love that.
They did not.
no.
They blew
No,
your
they did not
spot
love it.
up.
Why? What's the advantage of that?
Well, I think for me, the big draw of achievements initially was that we all started from the same place. We all started at 0.
Yeah.
And so just as before they even made sweeping changes to achievements, let's say, like it would be nice to all get in on a new system and start from the same point rather than like, let's say I get a new thing and then I'm friends with Andrew Reiner, who
Yeah.
has 300,000 achievement points.
Yeah, don't be friends with him.
Like,
Yeah.
it's right. I think, it's this impossible. Like I can never surpass that.
Right.
But if there's a new thing, and we both start there, then it's like a fun new thing. Like I think they should have done that as well with the Xbox One.
It'd be interesting if they had like multiple approaches to it. Like if
Yeah.
they had like here, this generation is your achievement score, but technically your old one will still exist. Are
Here's
you
your
okay with that?
combined
Yeah.
achievement
Yeah.
score. Yeah.
Or at the very least, I think they should signify like this is what your old score was.
Right.
But like start from scratch, and then if they made different changes, then all for the better. But
Okay.
that
That's
was
bold.
that was the biggest thing that I think when I was reading the comments, people were like, "What an idiot."
And if people wanted to find that, what do they search? What's it called?
Type in Game Informer achievements into Google. I forget what I got. Xbox achievements need to evolve.
Great.
Yeah,
the title?
that is it. Yeah.
Perfect. Jay, favorite feature?
I got two.
Please.
First one quickly is the video essay.
Which technically at the time of this recording we haven't edited yet.
Yeah,
but yes.
true.
Okay.
But it's exciting for me to just work in video stuff, so that's cool.
Okay.
And I'm just gonna be that guy.
Hang on, but this is about Red Dead 2, just about like
Yes.
the visual metaphors that
yes,
stand
the
out
visual
to you.
metaphors of Red Dead Redemption 2 and 3 small tidbits that stuck out to me in those moments. Sorry, I should have explained that first.
That's fine.
And the second one, I'm just gonna be that guy. My blackness feature.
Gonna be that guy.
Yeah, I'm gonna be that guy because I got a lot of hate, man. Like
Really?
the comments were disabled, but the Facebook was wild because people were just like, blackness? That's not a word. It is a word, all right? It's a scholarly word, all right? In my Black history classes in college.
All right.
Are you sure?
There we go. Am I sure?
Why read all those comments? Were you hoping for some wisdom, or what are you doing?
I mean, I had never put something like just like the things I'm doing here. I never had like a wide audience, like a readership like that before. Like I had a website. I do have a website, and I get like maybe 2 to 5 viewers.
What's the
on
website?
That. It is my entire name.com. JasonGuisao.com.
Can you spell that, please?
JASON, in case you don't know how to spell Jason.
Got that part.
GUISAO.com. There's no comments on it.
Great. Perfect.
Yes.
Let's change that.
But no. I mean, I never had a readership like that, so I wanted to see what people were thinking. And I mean,
It turns out the internet's thinking, not so much.
yeah, the internet's thinking like, wow, who is this guy? Celebrating stuff, celebrating good things. But no, I mean, I did get a lot of positive responses.
So if you
to it,
search
too.
Game of Form of Blackness, probably that's probably going to bring it up.
That's probably going to bring it up. Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Hunter, what about you?
My op-ed on why Kingdom Hearts 3 redeems Donald Duck was pretty stellar.
That is not a joke headline, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that performed crazy.
It really
performed
did.
like crazy.
It really did.
Yeah.
Because I think it roped in the Kingdom Hearts crowd that's like, yeah, Donald Duck has been redeemed in the eyes of our Lord.
Finally.
But then also I think there are people who like who hate Kingdom Hearts, like, I gotta look at this crap.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, what's going on here?
Not clickbait though. I had some very valid points in there.
About Donald Duck.
About
I'm a
Donald
Disney
Duck.
fan, and even I am like, I've watched a lot of Kingdom Hearts 3, and I can't even understand what Donald Duck's saying, let alone thought that he's redeemed.
That's why I play the game with captions.
Yeah.
Just for Donald Duck.
I understand that.
Yeah.
That's cool. Another one?
One I really enjoyed writing was my story about the physics behind Mortal Kombat's fatalities.
Oh, that's very fun.
Yeah, I got to interview 2 real-world physicists, one that's based right here in Minneapolis, about basically about how none of the fatalities are scientifically plausible, but it was interesting to hear and learn why. So
I love seeing that. And actually, Dan Reichert from Giant Bomb reached out to me. And he sent me a link to that. He's like, hey, remember when we were going to do this? Because back in 2012 or whatever, we were going to go to the University of Minnesota and film a Daily Show style correspondent bit where it'd be Dan pitching Mortal Kombat fatalities to med students and physicists to try and figure out what would be plausible. But then just like those old Daily Show correspondent bits, Dan would just be completely straight faced the entire time about what do you mean? Why can't you turn into a dragon and bite this guy's head off?
I have a sword.
Yeah, exactly. That's a fun idea. Did you learn anything crazy, or was it just them repeatedly saying, no, you idiot?
Did I learn anything crazy?
What was their most specific piece of feedback that they had about any of the fatalities?
I think one that's probably the easiest to explain. It's not the one that I enjoyed learning the most, but it's this concept called rolling with the punch to explain why it's not plausible to punch through someone's chest and rip out their spine. It would actually be really easy to break through someone's rib cage, but to break through the squishy stuff in the back is really difficult because it's like putting a mattress behind a wall. You punch through the wall, that's easy, but the mattress rolls the force.
That's interesting.
Just like I almost rolled my coffee onto the table.
That's a weird idea. Oh, this is a really in-depth feature. Okay.
Yeah.
Physics.
That's
super fun.
No, I actually enjoyed doing it, and I hated physics in high school. So if you hated physics in high school just like I did, you would still love to read the story. I wrote it just for you.
That's perfect. What are you guys doing after this? Do you want to
probably writing some news,
Okay. No. Do you want to stay in the game industry? Do you want to branch out? What are your overall visions for yourselves here?
I don't know. I'd like to hang around as much as I can. So, we'll probably...
Hopefully not this office, but yeah, in general, you're saying.
I don't know. Speak for yourself. I would like to. I'll try my hand at freelancing. Let's see how that goes. And then I don't know. Who knows? I'd like to get my name out there and keep writing about video games.
You get your name out there by saying maybe your Twitter account right now into the microphone if people are interested in following you. Do you not have a Twitter account?
I do. I think I have 3 tweets. You can go on there, and one of them is a link to the Pokemon feature.
What's the Twitter account?
It's just my name at Nathan Anstadt.
And that last name?
Anstadt.
Okay, you should probably tweet more if you want to get the freelance game.
You're right.
It's a little important.
Yep.
That's all right. It sucks,
Great.
though. That's fine. Jay?
I am planning on freelancing too, but I also want to get started on these Udemy courses. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but like it teaches you how to do, like how to make projects through Unreal. So,
okay.
I like had just downloaded that before I came here, and that was kind of like the plan to make like a portfolio and maybe apply to grad school
Interesting.
for game design.
Cool.
So freelancing and doing that, and I guess updating my own personal website. And
Yeah.
stuff. So,
And you have a Twitter account you want to get out there?
yes, it is my last name, Guisao, Guisao, Guisao at Guisao Jason.
It wasn't taken.
No.
Wow, the only Guisao out there.
Yeah,
All
I
right, very
guess
impressive.
so. Right?
The one and only.
Yeah.
The one and only.
Hunter, what do you got, man?
Yeah, I will be moving to Minneapolis, so I'm super excited for that.
Okay.
I'm going to freelance afterward. I think I knew I loved writing about games before the Game Informer internship, but I wasn't sure how I would like writing about it basically full time.
Yeah.
And I said earlier, but it's never once felt like work. And that's like so important to me. So I think that's pretty telling. So I'm going to freelance and
That sounds good.
yeah,
And what's
live
your
my
Twitter-
best life. My Twitter
Yeah.
is at Hunter_Wolfe with an E.
Wolf with an E, of course.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you ever just change the name at this point? Just stop
I know.
confusing everybody.
Actually, my grandparents don't have the E on their name. They lied on the birth certificate. Yeah. For my dad, because there was another Wolf family
Wolfpack.
in the area that we came from, so I'm not specific, who were, let's just say they had a Jaime Lannister, Cersei Lannister relationship.
Wow.
And my grandma, she was a
Passionate.
prideful woman. She did not want her children to be associated with that Wolf family.
Amazing.
So
But this isn't slander because we didn't say exactly where they're from.
exactly. So that is the origin of Wolf E.
That's beautiful. Well, on that note, everybody, good job with the internship. Give yourselves a round of applause here.
All right.
Let these people know they did a great job in the comments below. Only nice comments, so help me God.
Yeah.
And that's it. Hey, best of luck to you guys. Stay in
Thank
touch.
you. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much.
One of the
Will do.
best batches. In fact, hang on. The best intern batch.
Aw.
Bar none. Forget that Leo Vader turd squad, whatever that was back in the day. Garbage town.
Yeah.
This
Who's
is it. This is it. The best. The finest. Thank you so much for your work, and thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode of the Game Informer Show podcast. Be sure to tune in next Thursday. I won't be here, but somebody else will be here to host the podcast. So tune in, everybody. Thanks for watching or listening.